Chapter 2259. 2259 Formation, Under the Curse Spell. Heh! The middle-aged mentor and the old man were filled with astonishment when they saw Wang Xian standing up despite their pressure. Only those of the same level or stronger could stand up under the pressure of the two of them. Kid, you don't have the right to talk to my master and the rest. Call out the person behind you. Shangguan Zhihan, Shi Jingyang and the rest said with cold faces. All of you better scram immediately. Boom. Wang Xian heard their words and looked at the two arrogant middle-aged men. His face was filled with a cold expression, his body trembled and his peak aura burst out directly. The peak-level aura charged straight at them. Heh! This. The moment Wang Xian's aura burst out, the expressions of the middle-aged man and the old man changed slightly. They hurriedly protected Shangguan Zhihan, Shi Jingyang, and the rest who were beside them. How is this possible? His aura. At this moment, Shangguan Zhihan, Shi Jingyang, and the rest who sensed Wang Xian's violent aura had a drastic change in their expressions. They could not help but let out a cry of surprise. How was this possible? How could this young man have such a terrifying aura? Their eyes were wide open and their foreheads were filled with cold sweat. If it was not for the middle-aged man and the old man who were blocking in front of them, the aura would have suffocated him. I didn't expect us to be wrong. The pupils of the middle-aged man and the old man constricted slightly and a solemn expression appeared on their faces. They did not expect that such a young man would actually have a strength that was comparable to theirs. No wonder his expression didn't change under their imposing manner. Scram immediately. Wang Xian stared at them and shouted again with a cold expression. My friend, may I know why you want to make an enemy out of the House of War Beasts? The middle-aged mentor restrained his imposing manner and stared at Wang Xian as he asked. Make an enemy out of you? You guys think too highly of yourselves. Ask your disciples about some things. If you don't leave now, I won't be polite anymore. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and said coldly, You're welcome. Why? Do you still want to suppress the two of us? Hee. Although your strength is beyond our expectations, this is not something you have the ability to cause trouble for us. The old man said with a cold expression. Then we will send you out. Wang Xian moved his arm and instantly transformed into a ferocious and terrifying dragon claw. He grabbed at the old man and the middle-aged man in front of him. You. The old man's face changed drastically when he saw Wang Xian making a move instantly. It was forbidden to make a move on the Tianhai Island. Once it was discovered, even the Eternal Lord would be severely punished. Especially when they came to other people's shops to cause trouble, their responsibility was even greater. However, the one who made the first move would also be severely punished. This fellow. Holy shit, he made a move, he actually made a move. My goodness. The owner of the Dragon Palace pet is this young man himself. He has such terrifying strength. He has comprehended 4 laws. This young man's strength is not weaker than Teacher Han and the others. He dares to make a move directly. This owner has a bad temper. Isn't he afraid of being punished? The faces of the Eternal God Masters in the shop changed slightly. They hurriedly flew out to avoid being affected. What's going on? Is there going to be a fight inside? Everyone who was gathered outside sensed the aura inside. When they saw the Eternal Lord-level powerhouses who came out in a hurry, their faces were filled with shock. Do you really think that we are afraid of you? The old man did not expect Wang Xian to make a move. He waved his arm and used the golden shield to block the dragon claw. He roared coldly. Do you really think that I'm easy to bully? Wang Xian stared at them with a cold gaze. The old man and the middle-aged mentor looked extremely embarrassed. If they were to fight today, they would have to pay a heavy price. As for Shangguan Zhihan and Shi Jingyang, who were standing behind them, they were completely dumbfounded at this moment. They did not expect that the young man was the boss. They did not expect that he had the strength of a level 4 Eternal Lord. Seeing the young man's attack, their faces turned pale. The other party was an Eternal God Lord rank expert. It was a piece of cake to kill them in the dark. Even the surveillance system of the natural selection continent was hard to detect. In an instant, The entire shop was filled with a terrifying energy. The atmosphere was somewhat solemn. A great battle could break out at any time. Stop. No fighting is allowed on the Sky Sea Island. If it's serious, kill without mercy. At this moment, a voice came from outside. A few middle-aged men in uniforms walked over and shouted into the shop. Teacher Han, don't break the law. You know the price of fighting here. The 5 people walked in and heaved a sigh of relief when they saw the situation inside. The enforcer in the center clearly recognized the middle-aged teacher and said indifferently, "We know that the other party made the first move. We will leave immediately." The middle-aged mentor retracted all his imposing manner and nodded his head. The old man also retracted his imposing manner. "Are you new here? Don't you know the rules here?" The enforcer in the middle looked at Wang Xian and reminded him, "If someone comes to cause trouble, they must pay the price." Wang Xian also retracted his imposing manner and said indifferently, "Chen Ph, if you are not targeting us, we will not hold back." The middle-aged mentor and the old man stared at him and warned him. After that, the 2 of them turned around and left. Shangguan Zhihan and the rest followed behind them hurriedly. At this moment, they were extremely frightened. "Open the shop properly and don't cause trouble." The enforcer scanned the surroundings and left after giving them a reminder. Humph. Wang Xian watched them leave and scanned the surroundings. When he saw a few of the cubs looking dispirited, he snorted coldly and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. "Are you leaving just like that after causing trouble?" A cold glint flashed in his eyes. With a move, he appeared upstairs. He opened his palms and a few strands of hair appeared in his hands. These strands of hair belonged to the middle-aged mentor and the old man. "You want to leave after provoking me? It's not that easy." Wang Xian mumbled. "Heaven formation, is this curse of yours effective?" He waved his arm and started to set up a formation in front of him. This formation was several times more complicated than the previous one. "With your current strength, even though it's not enough to kill him, you can definitely injure him severely." The god of heaven formation replied. "All right." Wang Xian nodded his head faintly. The formation was slowly taking shape. Formation, a curse spell. This was one of the categories of formations. It was also the most mysterious and bizarre category, a curse spell. By casting a curse spell, one could attack from a very, very far away place. Furthermore, one could not find the person who cast the spell, nor could they find evidence of the other party casting the spell. Killing was prohibited in the Tianzi continent, and assassinations were illegal. However, if law enforcers wanted to capture someone, they had to have evidence. Being silent and traceless was a curse. Chapter 2260. 2262,260 was silent and traceless. That kid doesn't look old. He has comprehended at least 4 laws. What a surprise. The middle-aged tutor and the old man walked out of the Dragon Palace's mount, their expressions ugly. "Elder Shi, do you know that person? Is he coming for you?" The middle-aged tutor looked at the old man and asked with a slight frown. "Me?" The old man shook his head. "This is the first time I've seen that kid. Do you have any enmity with him? Find someone to investigate that kid's background. If he dares to cause trouble again, let him know what will happen to him." The middle-aged teacher shook his head and said with a somewhat cold gaze. The old man beside him nodded, his eyes filled with a cold light. The 2 of them were not afraid of each other. So what if they were enemies? Move aside. Move aside. It seems like a fight almost broke out. The young boss of the Dragon Palace's war pet is not weaker than Mentor Han and the others. Is he suppressing the family of war beasts on purpose? But even if he is suppressing them, it is a good thing for many people. Some people outside the Dragon Palace's war pet discussed among themselves when they saw their group coming out. Some God Lord level experts' eyes also flickered. They also didn't expect that young man to be so strong. This grudge has been formed. That young man's temper is too explosive. Let's directly fight. Some experts thought to themselves. No fighting is allowed on the Sky Sea Island. Before fighting, consider the price you have to pay. The enforcer who walked out of the shop glanced at everyone around him and reminded him lightly. Formation, Blood ring explosion. At the same time, on the second floor of the shop, Wang Xian spent a total of 30 seconds to set up the curse of blood ring explosion. The time taken to set up the curse was even slower than the time taken to set up the attack formation. It was impossible to use it in a battle. However, the power and strangeness of the curse spell went without saying. Looking at the complete formation of the battle tactic, Wang Xian's dragon eyes of yin-yang and the 5 elements swept across the ground in front of him. His eyes revealed a hint of coldness as he continued to set up the formation. At this moment, the middle-aged mentor and the old man walked out of the shop with cold faces. They were ready to return to the House of War Beast. However, all of a sudden, a scream came out from the old man's mouth. Then, everyone saw a large amount of blood oozing out of the old man's body. The blood made a strange cracking sound. What's going on? In an instant, the middle-aged mentor's face changed drastically, and he immediately looked at the old man. Elder Shi, what's going on? Grandpa. The middle-aged mentor's face changed slightly, and Shi Zhengyang's face was also filled with horror as he shouted loudly. No. I don't know. Blood flowed out of the old man's face, and he looked extremely terrifying. His face was filled with vigilance as he scanned his surroundings. Screams of pain came out of his mouth, causing the expressions of everyone around to change slightly. What's going on? How did an eternal God Master level expert suddenly become like this? Hiss, what happened? Did someone attack that senior? Everyone in the vicinity looked over, their faces filled with fear as they looked at the old man. What's going on? The expressions of the 5 enforcers also changed slightly, and they immediately walked around the old man. Pa pa pa. The sound of blood exploding rang out once more, and the old man couldn't help but let out a low roar of pain. What's going on? Is he poisoned? The middle-aged mentor's expression changed slightly, and his aura erupted as he examined the old man's body. Suddenly, the middle-aged mentor also let out a painful cry. His body trembled, and drops of blood flowed out of his body. Not good, master, what's wrong with you? Shangguan Zhihan hurriedly ran over and shouted. I feel a terrifying power suddenly entering my body. The middle-aged teacher hugged his head, blood slowly flowing out of his face, looking incomparably savage. He gritted his teeth and roared in a low voice, his eyes filled with terror. This is a curse, an array formation curse. There's absolutely no mistake, it's a curse. Suddenly, an eternal God Lord level expert beside him saw this situation and roared in a low voice with a solemn expression. Curse. Everyone's hearts turned cold. In the field of array formations in the Tianzi continent, because of the existence of the mysterious Sky Territory's Son of Heaven Divine King, the Tianzi continent's array formations could be considered very good. Many cultivators had some understanding of array formations. The array formation curse technique was definitely the strangest of all offensive techniques. It was silent and traceless. It could attack you directly from a distance of tens of millions or even billions of kilometers. Moreover, you still don't know who attacked you. A powerful curse could instantly kill people. Everyone's expression changed when they saw the old man and the middle-aged teacher. A curse? Was this a curse? It was actually so terrifying that it caused so much pain to the 2 eternal God Masters who had mastered 4 laws. How could there be a curse? How could my master and the others be cursed? Shangguan Zhihan looked at his master who was extremely miserable and said in panic, how could there be a curse? Some people murmured. Suddenly, someone turned around and looked at the Dragon Palace's pet shop. Their eyes were shining. The 2 of them had just come out from the Dragon Palace's pet shop and had been cursed for dozens of seconds. Only the young master of the Dragon Palace's pet shop could have done it. Although they couldn't be sure, 80% of it was done by the owner of the Dragon Palace's pet shop. It must be him, it must be the young man inside. The Lord of Law Enforcement caught him. Shi Zhengyang also thought of this possibility at this moment. He looked at the 5 law enforcement officers, pointed at the Dragon Palace's pet shop, and shouted loudly, "This!" The 5 enforcers frowned slightly. The other party was obviously an eternal divine lord-level powerhouse. It was obviously against the rules to arrest someone without evidence. Let's go to Shentian Academy. Let's go find the array formation powerhouse of Shentian Academy. The middle-aged instructor endured the intense pain in his body and growled at the old man. Then, he immediately flew toward the academy. All right. The old man nodded. He looked in the direction of the Dragon Palace's war pet with a bit of fear in his heart and followed closely behind. The others could guess it, and they understood it even more clearly. This was almost 100% the work of that young man. However, at this time, they didn't have time to think about revenge. Instead, they wanted to solve the problems in their bodies as soon as possible. They could sense that although the curse couldn't kill them, it could severely injure them. This injury would take at least several decades to recover. They hoped to quickly solve the curse on their bodies. Seeing the two experts leave quickly and the blood on the ground, everyone was a bit dazed. Many people saw the Eternal God Lord level experts in such a miserable state. Dragon Palace battle pets continue to be sold, hurry up and buy them. At this moment, a voice came from the Dragon Palace battle pet. Everyone's hearts shook. Chapter 2261. 2261 2261 names spread far and wide. Dragon Palace battle pet. In front of the shop, everyone looked at the pet shop in front of them. It seems that the boss of the Dragon Palace battle pet was the one who cast the curse. Absolutely. If it weren't for him, he would have come out to explain. After all, he had offended someone. The boss of the Dragon Palace battle pet is not simple. He knows the curse. Who would dare to provoke such an enemy? Some people looked at the Dragon Palace's war pet shop with reverence in their eyes. Even the Eternal Lord level experts were filled with fear. Everyone had witnessed the scene just now. Such a strange scene caused even the experts who had mastered the 4 laws to be heavily injured in an instant. They had no ability to resist at all. The enforcers stood there helplessly. They had no evidence at all. Once they provoked such a person, they would not even know how they died. Even those who were stronger than them had to consider the consequences before provoking such a person. Those who had mastered 5 or 6 laws had to retreat when they encountered such a person. This was because he could not kill you, but he could curse your family and friends. Under such a strange curse, the weak could not withstand it at all. Gulp. Hearing the discussions around them, Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang's faces turned pale. If the formation curse had appeared on them just now, they would be dead for sure, 100% dead. Thinking of their teacher's miserable state, the few of them trembled, their eyes filled with fear. Let's go and see how Master and the others are doing. Shangguan Jahan glanced at the Dragon Palace's battle pets with some fear and immediately flew towards Shentian Academy's location. The price in the Dragon Palace's battle pets shop is quite fair. Come, let's go in and buy some. Some Eternal God Lord level experts hesitated for a moment before entering the pet shop. They did not have any conflict with the owner of the Dragon Palace's battle pets. On the contrary, they were still customers and the other party would not use a curse on them. A group of experts entered and bought the sea monster war pets one by one. What happened to the Dragon Palace's war pets quickly spread to the Sky Sea Island. Not to mention the strange curse, just the value of the war pets was enough to cause quite a stir in the Sky Sea Island. More and more experts who had received the news walked toward the Dragon Palace's war pet shop. I thought the House of War Beasts would be a trouble, but I didn't expect the House of War Beasts to be even more troublesome. The price is much cheaper than ours. Damn it, this has a great impact on us. It has a great impact. The House of War Beasts is open for business for one day. Unless we lower the price, there won't be any business. The House of War Beasts is just a small shop. There shouldn't be an endless supply of pets, right? If that's the case, it will be a devastating blow to our pet god pavilion. Let's wait and see first. If the other party really has an endless supply of pets, then we'll have to prepare our countermeasures. 2 old men stood on a street, slightly frowning as they looked in the direction of the Dragon Palace's battle pet. The 2 slowly conversed, and finally left with a bad look on their faces. This curse is extremely mysterious to begin with. There are only a few people in our natural selection continent who know the curse. We can't undo this curse either. Perhaps the headmaster can. However, At this moment, in a courtyard of the Heavenly Academy, an old man with a compass in his hand spoke to the middle-aged teacher with a grave expression. However, this curse isn't fatal to all of you. Furthermore, the effect of the curse is basically over. The old man continued speaking. Master Jing, even if it's not fatal, such a serious injury would require decades of recovery. Elder Shi said with a bitter face. Although the curse spells on their bodies were not fatal, it would take decades for them to recover naturally. Unless they spent a large amount of resources to recover quickly, it would consume too much. Recover slowly. I'm afraid that the other party will continue to curse you, but don't worry too much. Spellcasters can only continue to curse after they have obtained your hair and flesh. The hair and flesh consumed by each curse will directly dissipate. The old man holding the compass said, his eyes shining. Who have you offended? If this curse falls on you, you'll be able to withstand it. If it's lower than your strength, you might have a chance of dying. 99% of it is that young man from the House of War Pet. Elder Shi and the middle-aged teacher looked at each other and said with a gloomy face, a young man from the House of Battle Pets. An array formation master who knows how to cast curses is very dangerous. I'll get someone to check it out. The old man holding the compass raised his eyebrows slightly. Then I'll have to trouble Director Jing. The middle-aged instructor said respectfully. It's all right. We need to pay attention to such a person. The old man holding the compass shook his head and took out his artificial brain to mobilize his strength. The Mysterious Sky Academy was the ruler of the entire Mysterious Sky Territory. The entire Mysterious Sky Territory revolved around the Mysterious Sky Academy. The headmaster was the supreme ruler of the entire Mysterious Sky Territory. Directors like them also had a lot of power. It was fine to ask the law enforcement department to help investigate a person. However, they didn't have the authority to enforce the law. The middle-aged tutor and elder Shi endured the intense pain on their bodies and waited quietly by the side. Although they were extremely fearful of that young man, they were not willing to not take revenge. Master, grandfather, Director Jing. Not long after, Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang came over and entered the courtyard to call out respectfully, Ian, sit down. The old man holding the compass nodded. Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang were the heavenly sons of the Mysterious Sky Academy, and the old man understood them very well. The teachers were also more polite to people who had a high chance of stepping into the eternal Divine Lord realm in the future. There's news. At this moment, the old man holding the compass said something. When he saw the contents of the AI, he was slightly stunned. Director, what's the identity of the other party? The middle-aged teacher immediately asked. Let's end this matter here. He is a new teacher of our Mysterious Sky Academy, Director Jin, who brought him here. The old man holding the compass said directly. What? Is he our academy's teacher? Dean Jin brought him here? The middle-aged teacher and old Shi's expressions changed slightly, and Shangguan Jahan and the others were also surprised. If you provoke the other party first, then let it go. The other party will not do anything if he knows your identity. The old man holding the compass waved his hand at them, indicating for them to leave. It's Dean Jing, we know. The middle-aged teacher nodded his head and frowned slightly. Since the other party was also a teacher of the Heavenly Academy, it was impossible for them to borrow the strength of the academy to take revenge. There were more than 10,000 teachers in the academy, and there were conflicts between the teachers as well. However, this conflict couldn't be carried out in a killing manner. If they were to assassinate the other party, they would definitely die if they angered the principal. Chapter 2262. 2262 2262 Reputation spread far and wide. The owner of that Dragon Palace battle mount is actually the Academy's teacher, Teacher Han. Don't tell me that our injuries have been in vain. Walking out from Director Jing's residence, Elder Shi said with a slightly ugly expression. The other party is the Academy's teacher. The principal has a rule. If there are any teachers who secretly kill each other or assassinate each other, if they are discovered, they are to be killed immediately. If there is a huge grudge between the two of you, you can settle it on the life and death arena. The middle-aged teacher said with a grim expression. Who would dare to violate the principal's words and the principal's rules? In the entire Black Heaven domain, the principal was the most respected person. Anyone who dared to cause trouble was a scoundrel, and the principal could destroy them with a single finger. No one would dare to violate the rules, not even the teachers of their academy. Just forget about it. The injuries on my body will take at least a few decades to recover. It will take too much of my energy to recover quickly. Elder Shi was unwilling to give up. Don't even think about it on the surface, unless we meet the other party in the underground sea and kill him. However, it's too difficult for us to kill someone of the same level as us. If the other party gets hold of us, we'll be dead for sure. There are over 10,000 teachers in the academy, and there are quite a number of them who don't have good relations with one another. However, it's usually their students who compete with one another. Sigh. This is too humiliating. The middle-aged teacher had stayed in the mysterious Sky Academy for over 10,000 years, and he was extremely clear about the rules of the academy. With the principal suppressing this place, even if there were grudges between the teachers, they wouldn't kill each other. As a result, the grudges between the teachers would extend to the students, and the students would compete with each other and fight in the arena. Under such circumstances, the academy didn't stop them. On the contrary, it encouraged them. This kind of atmosphere would instead allow the students to possess fighting spirit and a strong heart. For the sake of their students, some teachers would even encourage their own students to fight with others. Damn it, the other party knows how to use curses, and we are the ones who are the unlucky ones. I won't participate in this matter anymore. Elder Shi roared with an extremely ugly expression. He wasn't a teacher of the academy, so he could forget about taking revenge in the future. They could only accept this loss. I accept it as well. The other party knows the art of curses. The middle-aged teacher shook his head helplessly. Just let it go. At the back, Shangguan Zhihan, Shi Jingyang, and the others opened their mouths and spoke with extremely embarrassed expressions. This time, they had lost a lot of face. Speak, how did you offend that young man? Suddenly, the middle-aged mentor looked at Shangguan Zhihan and asked coldly. Master, we. Shangguan Zhihan saw the mentor's expression and his face instantly turned pale. Tell us. The middle-aged mentor also spat out a word. We didn't offend him either. When he first came to us to talk about cooperation, we thought he was a weakling and ignored him, but we didn't expect him to open a pet shop across from us. In the end, when we went there, we were thrown out. Shangguan Zhihan didn't dare to hide it and quickly said, Humph. When the middle-aged mentor heard his words, his face was extremely gloomy. It seemed that his disciple had provoked the other party, and they thought it was aimed at them. This time, it was a disaster for them. Bastard. Peng. From the side, Elder Shi's palm landed on Shi Zhengyang's body, causing him to fall to the ground. Grandfather. Shi Zhengyang's expression changed drastically, and he instantly spat out blood. Do you know that you almost caused our Shi family to provoke a terrifying enemy? Elder Shi's expression was gloomy. Damn it. Damn grandfather. Grandpa, I. Shut up. Go to the front line and fight for a month. You can only come back after a full month. Elder Shi interrupted him and growled coldly. You go too. The middle-aged instructor also said coldly. Elder Shi, I'm going back first. After saying that, he looked at Elder Shi and disappeared. Elder Shi nodded and disappeared, leaving behind two pale-faced Shangguan Zhihan and Shi Jingyang. At this moment, their faces were a little pale. Go to the front line, they murmured, looked at each other and swallowed their saliva. Going to the front line, there was the risk of death. It's all because of that guy, it's all because of that guy. Shangguan Zhihan clenched his arms in anger. Then what can we do? Cough, cough. Shi Jingyang also growled with a face full of unwillingness. Go to the front line. The conflict between the teachers has extended to the students. The two of them were silent for a few minutes before Shangguan Zhihan suddenly said coldly, Let's talk about it after we return from the front line. Shi Jingyang clenched his fists tightly. Wang Xian did not know about the incident at the House of War Beasts. Even if he did not take it seriously. If those two were reckless, Wang Xian did not mind killing them directly. As for the rules of the Xian Heaven domain, even if he were to kill someone in the Xian Heaven domain, Xian Tianzi would still protect him. He might even destroy the other party. The backing that the Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation had found for Wang Xian was no joke. With Xian Tianzi's character, even if Wang Xian were to destroy the heaven in the mysterious sky territory, he would probably not do anything to her. After all, Xian Tianzi was able to reach this stage because he had a lot to do with the Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation. Although he was not his master, he could be considered half a master. Therefore, Wang Xian was a little unscrupulous. After the troublemakers left, the business of the Dragon Palace's war pets picked up. More and more experts knew about the Dragon Palace's war pets and rushed over one after another. The price of an Eternal Lord-level war pet was still fair. This was something that many people were fighting for. "Boss Wang, I want this one." At this moment, about 10 people had gathered in the shop. They had already bought their war pets and were waiting for Wang Xian to help them tame them. "All right, we are done for today. We will continue to open tomorrow morning. I will help you tame your war pets first." Wang Xian waved his arm and closed the door. He led the group of Eternal Lord-level powerhouses upstairs. The group of sea monsters followed behind him. It was not difficult to help them tame them. No matter how wild the desolate beast sea monsters were, they possessed considerable intelligence. They were also more intelligent than intelligent dogs. By helping them build a good impression of them, they could give them the lair of the ancient horse god's sea monster. This was the most important point. By placing the ancient horse god's sea monster's lair into their divine kingdom, it would be able to suppress their battle pet. In addition, after a long period of time, the battle pets had familiarized themselves with the aura of their master's divine kingdom. The lair was also suppressed, so they basically did not dare to resist. If its master treated the war pet better, the war pet would also follow the battle wholeheartedly. The process of helping to tame the war pet was very smooth. One war pet took about an hour and a total of 10 hours to tame the last person. "Thank you, Boss Wang. I wish Boss Wang a prosperous business in the future." The last Eternal Lord-level powerhouse sat on the body of the sea monster lord of the rolling horse god with a face full of excitement and congratulated Wang Xian. "There's no need. If you want to buy pets in the future, you can come to the Dragon Palace's war pet," Wang Xian said with a smile. "Oh, Boss Wang, your war pets will be sold out in 3 to 4 days at most. What else?" The middle-aged powerhouse was slightly stunned as he asked curiously. "Of course." Wang Xian nodded. "I will inform the AI in the future." Chapter 2263. 2263 ignited 9 wisps of divine fire. The technology of the natural selection continent could kill an expert at the level of an eternal god lord. This killing represented a true killing, the kind that couldn't even escape. With the development of technology, life was also much more convenient. Online shopping wasn't rare in the Tianzi continent. With online shopping, there were naturally online promotions, especially for shops in the central area of the Tianhai Island. All of them could be promoted and notified individually on the Tianhai Island's internet. They could even advertise if they had the money. Normally, when an auction house was going to auction, they would advertise on the artificial intelligence of the Tianzi continent. Wang Xian didn't need to advertise. He only needed to issue a notice. When he was helping the Eternal Lord-level powerhouses tame the Lord of the Horse God Sea Monster, some people also told him how to advertise. In fact, he didn't need to advertise too much. These powerhouses who were buying war pets would also help Wang Xian advertise. After all, in the entire Tianzi continent, there were not many shops that could buy Eternal Lord-level war pets. Most of them were auctioned at the auction. It was inevitable that the price of the war pets would be higher at the auction. In the future, Wang Xian could make an announcement on the AI first. He could also make a reservation on the AI. Out of the 32 sea monsters, Wang Xian had sold 10 of them. Among them, 7 were adults and 3 were cubs. This was only the first day that the Dragon Palace's war pets had just opened. When more people knew about it, the sales would be even faster. After helping to tame the 10 sea monsters, Wang Xian continued to open the shop. Following that, Wang Xian spent 3 days to sell all the remaining war pet. During these 3 days, the Dragon Palace's war pets were considered to be well known. More than 30 Eternal Lord level war pets were sold in one go. There was only one shop that could produce so many war pets. "Boss, I heard that you have Eternal Lord level war pets here." Just as Wang Xian was about to close the shop, a middle-aged man suddenly walked in. "Huh?" Wang Xian was slightly stunned. He looked at the middle-aged man and felt the majestic aura in his body. He was slightly surprised. This middle-aged man had comprehended at least 7 to 8 laws. He was considered a top-notch expert in the entire Tianzi continent. There was a huge gap in the Master God realm. There was a gap of 3 to 4 levels. You had to be careful because you might be killed instantly if you weren't careful. You wouldn't even have the chance to escape back to the eternal divine kingdom. Of course, one could still react if they were alert in advance. Not for the time being. There will be more in a while. When the time comes, the Dragon Palace's pet shop on the AI will inform you. Wang Xian said to him. "Huh? Is that all?" The middle-aged man looked disappointed. "There will be more in a while." "What level?" "I'm not sure. Let's wait for the notification." Wang Xian shook his head. "Add on the AI. If your Dragon Palace's pet has an Eternal Master level pet, inform me in advance." The middle-aged man took out the artificial intelligence and said to Wang Xian, "All right." Wang Xian nodded. He naturally liked such potential customers and it would save him a lot of time. Name, Wang Xian. Race, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, Mandragon Unity. Level, 9 Wisps of Divine Fire LRB 5th Transformation of Divinevdragona Transformation. Divine Crystal, 1817. 7354 billion 5000 billion. Divine Ability, Ruling the Water Tribe below one's level. Devouring creatures to extract divine crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, Divine Dragon Transformation. Divine Ability, Soul Absorbing, Spirit Attaching, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Dragon Eyes. Aspect, 5 Elements Millstone, Dragon Kingdom in the palm, Dragon Head under the sky, Dragon Body of 10,000 miles, Yin-Yang Poles, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Arms Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Swing. Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace owned, Level 6. Dragon Palace members, 159,633. Phew. After taking all the pills, Wang Xian took a deep breath and looked at his attributes with a smile on his face. After igniting the 9 wisps of divine fire, the next step was to become the Eternal Divine Master. There was no such thing as the peak of the divine realm when a divine dragon broke through. Once he became the Eternal Master, he would have the power to fight against a master who had mastered 7 laws. The current him could fight against a master who had mastered 5 laws. His strength was not weak even in the Tianzi continent. Buzz. Without any hesitation, Wang Xian immediately set up the bloodline connection formation. He wanted to find out the whereabouts of Lan Qingyu and Sun Lingxiu. This time, he was still disappointed. If I still can't find them after advancing to the realm of the Eternal Lord, I'll go to other planets to take a look. Wang Xian made up his mind. I'll rest for 2 days and continue to go to the underground sea. The next time I go, I'll find all the resources needed to advance to the realm of the Eternal Lord. However, I want to advance to the realm of the Eternal Lord. I want to upgrade the Dragon Palace by another level. As he thought to himself, he went back to his room and laid on his bed to rest. After staying in the underground sea for a day, he was lucky enough to find the lair of the Myanmar sea monster. After staying in the Sky Sea Island for 4 days, he sold all the sea monsters. In 5 days, Wang Xian's strength had received a huge increase. After resting for 2 days, he continued his journey. Mount Shentian. At the center of the Shentian territory was the mountain peak where Shen Tianzi, the headmaster of the Shentian Academy and the strongest person in the Shentian territory, was located. This was also the place where the descendants of Shen Tian lived. The so-called descendants of Shen Tian were the honorific titles for the descendants of Shen Tianzi. Great-grandma, what's going on? Why did you call us beauties here? At this moment, In a luxurious manner at the foot of a mountain peak of the Xiantian mountain, a beautiful woman said to an old woman with a smile on her face. Hee, good news, good news. The old woman was holding a walking stick in her hand. She looked energetic, but her age was definitely not less than 700,000 to 800,000 years old. What good news, great-grandmother? Why did you call us girls over? Why didn't the men at home come over? A beautiful woman walked over and said with a smile on her face, "We'll talk about it when they're all here. We'll talk about it when they're all here." The old woman pretended to be mysterious as she shook her head. "Aunt is here." At this moment, a voice sounded. A woman came in from the entrance. The woman was wearing a blue armor that covered her entire body. Her body was filled with an imposing aura that was not inferior to that of a woman. She held a long spear in her hand, and her temperament was extraordinary. "Aunt." Some of the girls immediately went forward and shouted at the girls. "Ian, why did great-grandmother call me here?" The front line is still quite nervous. The woman smiled at the group of girls and said to the old woman, "Little umbrella, you're not young anymore. It's time for you to find a man to marry." The old woman looked at the woman and said with a smile, "Humph, I can marry, but first, those men can defeat me." The woman was slightly stunned, and then she snorted and said with some disdain, "Great-grandma, most of the people are here, right? Why did you call us here?" A girl couldn't help but ask. There were 50 to 60 sisters and aunts around. "It's nothing serious. I'm not sure about the details of the patriarch's order. A disciple of a friend of the patriarch came to our place a long time ago. The patriarch said to let him marry into our family and bring you there to have a look," the old woman said. However, as soon as she finished speaking, the girls in front of them were completely stunned. Chapter 2264. 2264 2264, what's going on? Stupefied. The 50 to 60 girls in the courtyard were all stupefied. The progenitor's friend's disciple wanted to marry into their family. What was going on? All the single girls from the mysterious sky descendants were somewhat stunned. Then why did he call them here? This, great-grandmother, then why did he call us here? A girl stammered as she asked. "Great-grandmother, could it be that you want us to take a look at that person and marry him if he or she takes a fancy to you?" A girl's eyes widened as she said. The group of girls frowned slightly. Was this a blind date for them? It's more or less the same, but... The old woman smiled. "All of you, dress up. If the other party takes a fancy to one of you, you should cultivate a good relationship with him or her." What? When all the girls heard this sentence, they were completely dumbfounded. "Great-grandma, what did you say?" "He will marry whichever one of us he takes a fancy to." This. One of the girls could not help but exclaim in surprise, and her expression changed drastically. The other girls also stared at her closely. What was this? An arranged marriage? With the open environment of the Heaven Selection continent and the fact that they were descendants of the mysterious Sky Clan, there was no need for an arranged marriage. As the women of this generation, every one of them was talented, beautiful, and had extraordinary strength. Which one of them was not being pursued by tens of thousands of boys? It was not an exaggeration to say that tens of thousands of boys were pursuing them. Their status was equivalent to that of a princess of the mysterious Sky Clan. If they married them, they would be married to a princess, and they would be the prince consort. Now, they were actually being asked to go for an interview. Whichever young man took a fancy to, he would marry them. What was this? Great-grandmother, how is this possible? Are you joking? What do you think we are? Choosing one of us to be his wife? Is he choosing a concubine? A girl said with an embarrassed expression. Don't be so unhappy. That young man is also very outstanding. He has the strength of an eternal God Lord at the same age as you, and he should be quite good-looking. The old woman said with a smile. What outstanding? Why would he want to marry into our family? A girl said with an unhappy face. Great-grandma, I'm still busy at the front line, maybe. The girl in the blue armor in the center frowned slightly and said to the old woman, I know your thoughts, but this is the order of the God King. The old woman looked at the group of girls and wiped away the smile on her face as she said seriously. Her words caused all the girls to fall silent as their pupils constricted slightly. The godly monarch's order was also an order from their patriarch. Their patriarch had lived for millions of years. They were known as the descendants of the mysterious heavens. There were more than 100 generations between them. The patriarch was a stranger to them. Many of them had only seen the patriarch more than a dozen times. Who dared to resist the old ancestor's order? Refuse? Run away from the marriage? The old ancestor didn't even need to say anything. The elders above him would take action. This action wasn't as simple as a simple punishment. No one could bear the price. For a moment, the group of girls bit their lips tightly. There was no longer the laughter from before. Even the girl in the blue armor was silent. Resist? Maybe even his parents would be implicated. The bloodline was still there, and the kinship was still there, but it was much smaller. The patriarch, who was used to seeing his descendants die, no longer cared about many things. You girls don't have to be like this. Marrying that young man might be very beneficial to you. After all, unless an extremely heaven-defying talent can be noticed by the patriarch, that young man with good talent is a good choice. The old woman saw the expressions on the girls' faces and said slowly, "Oh." Upon hearing the old woman's words, some of the girls' eyes indeed shone. It was true that the patriarch had personally given the order. Presumably, if the patriarch paid attention to that young man, then no matter what happened in the future, no one in the Black Heaven domain or even the Heavenly Swamp continent would dare to provoke it. That great-grandmother, is that young man handsome? A girl asked in a low voice. Hehe, I'll bring you to meet him and get to know him. Don't be so afraid. Marriage is a matter of mutual affection. If you don't like that young man and don't give him a good look, will he still choose you? He's quite proud to be able to cultivate to the level of a formation master at such a young age. The old woman continued. You're right. All the girls heaved a sigh of relief. Since they did not give him a good impression, the other party should not insist on not letting him go. Let's go, I'll introduce you to him. The old ancestor did not say that he wanted to get married right away. As the old woman spoke, she waved her arm forward, and a black hole appeared and directly stepped into it. The rest of the girls followed her immediately. The girl wearing the blue armor frowned. She moved and took off her armor to avoid being conspicuous. The group of girls passed through the black hole and arrived at the entrance of the academy. Then, they flew into the back forest. Before the old lady went there, she obviously knew that he was inside. The arrival of the group of girls attracted the curiosity of many students. However, when they saw the old lady in front of them, no one dared to ask or follow her. Is little brother Wang Xian around? Sorry to bother you. The old lady brought a group of girls to the front of the backyard. Her voice was transmitted into the backyard. Who is it? Wang Xian, who was resting, revealed a puzzled expression when he heard this voice. His body moved and he came to the backyard. He opened the door. Old lady, who are you? Sensing the energy contained in the old man's body, a hint of surprise flashed across Wang Xian's eyes. He glanced at the back and asked. The dean sent this old lady over. The old lady sized up Wang Xian and realized that the strength she sensed was only 9 wisps of divine fire. She was also slightly puzzled. Senior Xian Tianzi? Wang Xian asked and gestured for everyone to enter. Everyone, please come in. Okay. The old lady nodded and walked into the courtyard. A group of girls followed behind. They sized up Wang Xian one by one. Some of the girls heaved a sigh of relief. It was obvious that they didn't reject the handsome and dashing Wang Xian. Little brother Wang Xian, these are the outstanding girls of the descendants of Shen Tian who have yet to get married. Please get to know them. The old lady entered and introduced him directly. Hey! Wang Xian was slightly taken aback. A look of astonishment appeared on his face. What did she mean? The dean said that little brother is going to marry into the Shen Tian territory, so he brought you here to see which one you like to cultivate your relationship with. The old woman saw his puzzled expression and continued to speak. Cough cough. When Wang Xian heard her words, he couldn't help but cough. Damn, what's going on? This fellow Xian Tianzi really wanted him to marry into the Xian heaven domain. He even brought people here for him to choose from. 50 to 60 people? What's going on? Old woman, that's not right. Is it really good for this madam to do this? Chapter 2265. 2265 at the bottom of Tianzi continent. This senior, I will inform senior Xian Tianzi about this matter. They should go back first. Wang Xian looked at the old lady speechlessly and shook his head. Hehe, little brother, don't be shy. I can't disobey the orders of the headmaster. We, the descendants of Xian Tian, have 50 to 60 outstanding ladies in the entire Xian Tian territory. The old lady smiled and said to Wang Xian, there's really no need. My main focus is on cultivation now. I don't want to be disturbed by other things. Wang Xian continued to shake his head. The old lady was a little stunned. Then, she immediately said, how about this, little brother, leave a contact information with them through the AI. You can talk to them privately. Wang Xian's mouth twitched when he saw her acting like a madam. However, he raised his eyebrows slightly. This group of girls should be potential users of the Dragon Palace's war pet. All right. Wang Xian nodded and projected a contact information. Girls. The old lady gestured to the group of girls. You say you don't want it, but your body is very honest. One of the girls looked at Wang Xian and walked up to him. She took out her AI and added her contact details. Hehe, you're not bad looking. Another girl walked over and giggled at Wang Xian. Wang Xian's face turned black. He felt that it was not them who chose them, but them who chose him. The group of girls did not have a bad impression of Wang Xian's actions. They did not have the impression that he was sizing them up. The 50 to 60 girls added in very quickly. As long as you have a way to contact them. Little brother Wang Xian, if you like any of them, you can contact them more. As long as you like them, we can make the decision. Then, we won't bother you anymore. In order to avoid Wang Xian's embarrassment, the old lady left with her people with a smile. Wang Xian watched them leave and shook his head speechlessly. This Wang Xian is not bad. He is very young and very handsome. Not bad, not bad. How come 13th sister has her eyes on him? Hehe, you can pursue him if you like him too. What nonsense are you talking about? Chmph, my standards are very high. However, this Wang Xian is indeed not bad. It's just that I don't know who he will contact in the future. We have to keep in touch with him. If he finds anyone, let him know immediately to prevent him from stepping on multiple boat. That's right, let's see who he is looking for to chat with. We sisters have to be careful. As soon as they walked out of the courtyard, the group of girls started chattering. Even the old woman at the side was speechless. She moved and left immediately. Do any of you girls know about the Dragon Palace's pet shop? Bring me there to take a look. The girl who was wearing the blue armor shook her head and asked when she heard their word. Auntie, I know where it is, but I've never been there. I'll take you there. Auntie, do you want to buy a war pet? A girl immediately asked. Yes, let's go and take a look. I heard that there are more than 20 adult sea monsters. These mounts are very useful at the front line. More than 20 of them charging together is very powerful. Let's go and take a look. The girl nodded her head. The pet shop of the Dragon Palace's war pets seems to be very famous recently. I want to go and take a look too. As the group of girls spoke, they flew out in a chattering manner. Wang Xian, who had returned to his room, did not hear the conversation outside. After resting in his room for 2 whole days, he finally walked out of his room. Let's go to the underground sea. This time, I have to gather all the resources needed to advance to the level of the Lord of the Eternal Gods. As for upgrading the eternal kingdom of the Dragon Palace, we'll see when the time comes. Wang Xian thought to himself. Without any hesitation, he flew straight towards the north. He continued to head out from the sea. After flying past the steel beach, Wang Xian entered the sea. There were also many students and teachers who went out from the sea. Some of them were traveling in groups while others were traveling alone. The underground sea was the enemy of humans. Killing the sea monsters was something that everyone had to do. The weather is a little bad. There should be a rainstorm. Wang Xian looked at the sky. Tens of thousands of meters of black clouds were gathered in the sky. Under such circumstances, once the rainstorm started, it would last for at least half a month. He flew straight to the location in front of him. After flying for just an hour, it was raining cats and dogs in the sky. Wang Xian looked up and went straight into the sea. As his cultivation base had improved, he decided to go to the third level of the underground sea to take a look. If he was lucky, he might even encounter a sea monster's lair. However, even if he was unlucky, he had a solution now. Not long ago, Wang Xian had asked the Divine Emperor of Heaven's formation if there was a formation that could trap the Eternal Divine Lord. There was a solution, but he was not strong enough back then. Now that his strength had increased, he could definitely set up the formation. Furthermore, he had already set up the formation on the 5 elements grinding mill. He would be able to use it in an instant. Hey! There are many people ahead. At this moment, Wang Xian looked ahead and realized that there were many people ahead. So weak. He swept his gaze across and saw the dozens of people. He raised his eyebrows slightly. All of them were at the godly state. Although this place belonged to the shallow sea area, it was still a little risky. Hey, who is that? At this moment, Wang Xian swept his gaze across a figure. He felt that it was somewhat familiar. When he fixed his eyes on it, he realized that it was a student. Yu Bingbing. Wang Xian had some understanding of this girl. Based on the clothes and the weapons in her hands, Yu Bingbing could be considered the poorest student under him. Her clothes were a little bad and she didn't have any treasures in her hands. When others were cultivating, she could even use divine stones to aid them. However, she didn't have anything. He had a deep impression of this girl. They must be catching something. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he saw a middle-aged man grabbing something that looked like a crab. He hesitated for a moment before he flew towards Yu Bingbing. It would be fine if he didn't see it. Since he saw it, he naturally couldn't let his student take the risk here. If he ignited a wisp of divine fire, he would die if he was unlucky here. Buzz. Wang Xian moved and arrived in front of Yu Bingbing. No one in the surroundings sensed Wang Xian's arrival. The sudden appearance of Wang Xian also gave Yu Bingbing a shock. She stared at him and cried out in surprise. Teacher! Teacher! When he saw Wang Xian's face, he was slightly stunned. Then, he quickly shouted, "Why aren't you cultivating in the academy?" Wang Xian looked at her and raised his eyebrows. Teacher, I went out to sea with the people from our fishing village to catch red blood crabs. It's easier to catch them in stormy weather. Furthermore, I know a little about formations, so I came over. Yu Bingbing said weakly. With the bloodline of a demonic beast, she could change her fishtail and sway it gently. Catch red blood crabs? You're too weak. It's a little dangerous here. If you're not careful, you'll lose your life. Wang Xian said indifferently. Fortunately, there's a powerful fishing boat above our fishing village. As Yu Bingbing spoke, she pointed upwards. Wang Xian looked at a fishing boat on the surface of the sea and shook his head. A small boat could withstand the attacks of 8 or 9 sea monsters. Chapter 2266. 2266 2266 Pirates. Teacher, are you going to do what? Yu Bingbing asked weakly when she saw Wang Xian shaking his head. It's nothing. I'm going to the underground sea to hunt some sea monsters. Wang Xian looked at her and said calmly. Oh. Yu Bingbing nodded her head. However, her eyes lit up all of a sudden. She waved her arm and a weak formation was slowly formed. She waved her arm forward and headed towards a 1-meter-sized red blood crab. Wang Xian looked over. The red blood crab was a kind of sea monster at the demigod level. It was also a seafood with a good price. It was delicious. Yu Bingbing and the people from their fishing village took advantage of the rainstorm to catch the red blood crab to survive. Obviously, their living conditions were not very good. In the Tianzi continent, many people at the deity level were not living well. Humans were not the masters here. The entire world was filled with danger. If one wanted to survive, one had to become stronger. If one wanted to become stronger, one had to take risk. This was especially so for those at the bottom. They were truly risking their lives. If they were unlucky, they would die. No matter what, he is still my student. With such low abilities, he is courting death by catching seafood here. Wang Xian thought to himself. The aura on his body trembled slightly. Buzz. In an instant, a terrifying dragon's might swept across the sea area within a 150-kilometer radius. What happened? Within a radius of more than 100 kilometers, the fishermen who were catching red blood crabs felt this terrifying pressure. Their faces turned extremely pale instantly. Their eyes scanned their surroundings warily. Their eyes were filled with fear. Run! Get back to the ship! Get back to the ship! An old man shouted in a hurry. One by one, the fishermen fled frantically towards the surface of the sea. Hey! Teacher! Yu Bingbing sensed the terrifying aura around her. She was slightly shocked as she looked at her teacher. Buzz. Wang Xian didn't say anything. At this moment, all the sea monsters within 150 kilometers were swimming towards them. Among them, there were a few hundred red blood crabs and a sea monster with 3 wisps of divine fire. Any sea monster with 3 wisps of divine fire will be able to kill you. Wang Xian looked at the octopus-like sea monster and said calmly, Teacher, what is this? Seeing all the sea monsters swimming towards them, Yu Bingbing widened her eyes. Peng! Wang Xian waved his arm and a water bubble trapped all of them. Take them away, he said to Yu Bingbing. Ah, teacher, this. Yu Bingbing's eyes sparkled as she looked at him in a daze. You're my student after all. Now, your main focus is cultivation. Wang Xian said to her indifferently. What's the situation? Who's the figure in front of Bingbing? This. Let's go over and take a look. At the top of the ship, a few fishermen were stunned when they saw the situation. They didn't hesitate and swam straight towards them. Let's go up. Wang Xian said to her. With a wave of his arm, he brought all the sea monsters up. When they arrived on the fishing boat, Wang Xian threw all the sea monsters on it, including a 3-wisp divine fire. Wang Xian's sudden appearance threw a large number of red blood crabs onto the fishing boat. The dozens of people on the boat were dumbfounded. Teacher. Thank you. Yu Bingbing, who was following behind him, came up to Wang Xian gratefully and bowed. Is that Bingbing's teacher? Teacher. A teacher from the Shentian Academy, a powerhouse at the level of the Eternal Lord. TSK. Quick, let's go pay our respects to this master. Bingbing was able to get into the Shentian Academy. I shouldn't have allowed her to come this time. This girl is also. On the boat, the fishermen saw Yu Bingbing addressing that figure as teacher. They walked over respectfully. Master. The group of fishermen walked over and called out with some restraint. For a moment, they didn't know what to say. Yes. Wang Xian nodded at them and looked at Yu Bingbing. Are these people from your fishing village? Yes, teacher. They are all from our clan. Yu Bingbing nodded immediately. Sir, thank you for taking care of me. Bingbing is a good child. She is the first student from our fishing village to be admitted into the Shentian Academy. That's right. We might be a little useless. The little girl has to depend on herself for her cultivation resources. We don't want her to take the risk either. An old man walked over with some restraint. He stood there and said in a flustered manner, You're still young. It's better for you to focus on cultivation. When you're stronger, it'll be easier for you to obtain resources. Wang Xian said to Yu Bingbing. Yes, teacher. Yu Bingbing replied with her head lowered. Wang Xian looked around. It was raining cats and dogs in the sky. He stood there and waved his arm. A wave of energy enveloped the entire ship. The ship was about 2,000 meters in size. There were many technological weapons on it to resist the attacks of the sea monsters. Under the cover of Wang Xian, they entered the seabed in an instant. Teacher, what are you doing? Yu Bingbing looked at her teacher in surprise. I just happened to meet you. I'm just helping you out. In the future, cultivate well and strive to enter the realm of the Eternal Lord as soon as possible. Wang Xian said to her calmly. Sir, what is he doing? There were more than 100 people on the fishing boat. When they saw Wang Xian bringing the fishing boat straight to the bottom of the sea, They were all astonished. Buzz. After entering a depth of 100 kilometers, Wang Xian stood on the deck and emitted an imposing aura. All the sea monsters within a radius of 150 kilometers immediately swam towards him. Whoosh! With a wave of his arm, Wang Xian killed all the god-level sea monsters and threw them onto the ship. Hiss! This lord is so strong. Bingbing's teacher is so strong. This lord is helping us. Seeing that 3 to 4 god-level sea monsters were killed in an instant, countless sea monsters swarmed towards them. Over 100 fishermen widened their eyes in shock. This was a powerhouse. Thank you, teacher. Yu Bingbing was touched as she whispered to Wang Xian, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." The group of fishermen hurried over and knelt on the deck to express their gratitude. Wang Xian didn't say a word. He took the ship and flew straight down. With his current strength that was comparable to the level 5 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord, the chances of him encountering danger in the first or second level of the underground sea were not high. His speed was very fast and he had the ability to rule over the water tribe. The sea monsters that were weaker than the 9 wisps of divine fire had no resistance at all. Very soon, Wang Xian brought them to the second level of the underground sea. The number of divine realm sea monsters that he killed had reached more than 200. That's about it. Use half of the resources for your cultivation. Wang Xian looked at the corpses on the fishing boat and said to Yu Bingbing, "Thank you, teacher." Yu Bingbing said gratefully but was interrupted by Wang Xian with a wave of his hand. Buzz. He took the fishing boat and flew towards the surface of the sea. At the side, the fishermen on the boat were trembling as they looked at the corpses of the godly state sea monsters on the boat. Among these sea monsters, there were more than 10 of them with 8 or 9 wisps of godly fire. There were also 2 corpses of sea monsters at the peak of the demigod realm. This was a huge sum of money for their entire fishing village. Voila! The fishing boat floated up to the surface of the sea, and the sound of heavy rain hitting the surface of the sea could be heard. Woo woo woo! At this moment, an urgent sound suddenly came from the front. Chapter 2267. 2267 pirates descended. A rapid sound was heard on the surface of the sea. It was exceptionally clear even in the midst of a rainstorm. Wang Xian looked over and saw a few ships galloping in the darkness. Boom! All of a sudden, a rumbling sound was heard. A ray of blue light illuminated the pitch-black night sky. A ship in front of them exploded. This is... Oh no, there are pirates. An old man looked over and immediately approached the deck with a horrified expression. Adjust the direction immediately. He quickly ordered the other fishermen. Pirates? Are there still pirates on the sea? Wang Xian asked Yu Bingbing curiously. Some teachers, there are quite a number of pirates in the sea of natural selection. They are all people who have broken the law. I heard that some pirates are people from other planets who are wanted. They are hiding in the underground sea. It is said that powerful pirates are also top-notch existences among the Eternal Masters. Yu Bingbing replied to Wang Xian, "Then these pirates are getting a little arrogant." Wang Xian opened his dragon eyes of yin-yang and 5 elements and swept them forward. Hey! All of a sudden, he let out a gasp of surprise. His eyes flickered as he stared at an old man on the deck in front of him. The old man had a ferocious look on his face. He was holding a dark hole in his hand. His hair was sparse and he looked a little terrifying. The level of the Eternal Lord should be of the darkness attribute. Perfect. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and waved his arm. The ship that was turning around was instantly changed direction by him and flew towards the pirate ship. Sir, some pirates are very strong and they are very cunning. The old man immediately reminded Wang Xian. It's all right. Wang Xian didn't mind it. He wanted to try something. Before he could get close, screams of agony could be heard from the fishing boat that was being chased. Wang Xian's gaze was locked onto the pirate boat. Buzz. Wang Xian took out the 5 elements millstone and threw it forward. Boom. Boom. In an instant, the entire space underwent a terrifying change. A radius of more than 1,000 kilometers was covered by a huge horror. Black holes appeared in this area in a chaotic manner. Hundreds of black holes appeared out of thin air, causing the entire area to be extremely chaotic. What is this? This is bad. At the spot in front of them, the expression of the pirate elder who was standing on the deck changed drastically. He stared at the surrounding space with a face full of fear. It's a formation. The old man's expression changed slightly. Boss, what's going on? At this moment, everyone's faces revealed an incomparably fearful expression. The sky suddenly changed drastically. Hundreds of black holes tore at the surrounding space, as if they wanted to tear everything apart. The surrounding energy was incomparably chaotic. This area was incomparably terrifying. Everyone, including the group of pirates, were also incomparably terrified. This was the might of a formation, but what kind of formation was this? How could it be so strange? Bing Bing, how can your teacher be so powerful? This. A middle-aged man could not help but walk up to Yu Bingbing. He looked at his surroundings with a slight tremble as he asked in shock. Third uncle, I don't know either. I just entered the mysterious Sky Academy, but teacher shouldn't be simple. Yu Bingbing was also looking at her surroundings in shock. She had seen an eternal Lord-level powerhouse before. However, this was the first time she had seen such a terrifying scene. Splash. The fishing boat moved forward. The two fishing boats that were being chased by Wang Xian dodged to the side in horror. They looked at Wang Xian, who was standing proudly on the deck. Their faces were filled with shock. An expert at the level of the Eternal Lord. A hoarse voice rang out. On the pirate ship, an old man was floating slowly in the air, staring coldly at Wang Xian. He was not afraid of the terrifying scene around him. As long as he was on high alert, he could escape at any time. Pirate. Wang Xian looked at the old man who was floating in the air, emitting a terrifying dark force. He raised his eyebrows. Keek, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't meddle in other people's business. Otherwise, you will pay a heavy price. The old man stared at Wang Xian coldly as he spoke. A gush of blood rushed toward Wang Xian. Hiss. On the fishing boat, Yu Bingbing and the rest felt this terrifying aura. Their faces were filled with horror. Trash. Wang Xian stared at the old man and said in disdain. They waved their arms and a grey chain directly wrapped around the old man. You. When the old man heard Wang Xian's contemptuous words, anger appeared on his face. Hualala. However, in the next moment, the anger on his face quickly turned into fear. The grey chain instantly arrived in front of him. His expression changed drastically. The skeleton in his hand spat out a terrifying black light. The black light landed on it, but there was no trace of it. Run. In an instant, his forehead was filled with cold sweat. He was undefeatable, and the other party was much stronger than him. Wang. His heart moved, and he wanted to return to the eternal divine kingdom. His figure began to turn illusory, but he suddenly discovered to his horror that a wave of energy was actually obstructing him, making it impossible for him to return to the eternal divine kingdom. Oh no, it's the surrounding formation. What kind of needle technique is this? I've never heard of it before. The old man's expression changed drastically. His face was filled with fear and panic. Crash. The chains trapped him, rendering him unable to move at all. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and pulled his arm gently. No, what kind of formation is this? The old man roared at Wang Xian in fear. He couldn't break free from the chains. How dare a guy who has only mastered 2 laws be so arrogant? Wang Xian looked at him indifferently. Let me go, please let me go. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Let me go. The ferocious and terrifying old man shouted in fear. Buzz. Soul Catcher. Wang Xian ignored him. He waved his arm and cast Soul Catcher towards him. Ah! A painful scream came out from the old man's mouth. Wang Xian retracted his soul capture power. Summon your eternal kingdom, Wang Xian said to the old man who had a blank look on his face. Huh! Seeing that the old man was in a daze and didn't say anything, the dragon power on his body covered him. Summon your eternal kingdom, Wang Xian shouted softly. His voice exploded in his mind. Summon the eternal kingdom, the old man muttered. In the sky above him, a huge dark kingdom slowly appeared. Hihi, it's a success. Wang Xian's eyes revealed a hint of excitement. His method of deterrence was similar to taming the sea monsters. However, he used the soul-absorbing power. The soul-absorbing power was not fully used. It could cause people to be in a trance or even inflict serious mental damage. It was still possible to use the dragon's might to cover some of his actions. In this case, there is hope to increase the level of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly. He was in a great mood. Behind him, Yu Bingbing and the rest were looking at this scene in shock. An eternal lord who had mastered 2 laws was instantly killed. He couldn't even escape. Instantly killed. Chapter 2268. 2268 2268 Extreme Cold Sea Area. Bang! Wang Xian waved his arm and a powerful force landed on the pirate elder's head. At the same time, he used all his soul-absorbing power. Buzz! A large amount of information entered Wang Xian's mind. With a wave of his arm, he kept the pirate elder's eternal kingdom and his corpse. Then, he looked forward. Rumble. The sound of thunder could be heard from the sky. A bolt of lightning streaked across the sky and illuminated the entire sky. On the pirate ship in front, all the pirates looked at this scene in horror. Their boss who was at the level of the Eternal Lord, was actually killed. This. Crash. At this moment, the sound of chains could be heard. They stared at them with despair on their faces. Sir, don't kill us, don't kill us. The pirates were begging for mercy. Wang Xian swept his gaze across them. None of them were good people. Ah. The screams were extremely urgent. They came and left as fast as they came. Wang Xian took out the treasure-seeking ants from the mother nest and sent waves of aura into his mind. With a wave of his arm, some of the treasures were directly stored in his bag. Buzz. Wang Xian waved his hand and recalled the 5 elements millstone. The black holes in the formation disappeared. One by one, the black holes filled with chaotic energy disappeared. Crash. The sound of the rainstorm entered his ears. Dozens of kilometers ahead, the 2 ships that were being chased by the pirates looked at this scene in shock. Yu Bingbing, you should go back. If you don't ignite 5 or 6 wisps of divine fire in the future, try not to go deep into the underground sea. If you need cultivation resources, come and look for me. There's no need to be embarrassed. I can easily obtain the things that you exchanged with your life. Wang Xian looked at Yu Bingbing as he spoke. Then, he moved and entered the sea. Teacher! Yu Bingbing shouted from behind. When she saw Wang Xian's disappearing figure, she opened her mouth slightly. Bingbing, you have found a good teacher. He is simply too powerful. He killed a level 2 pirate of the Eternal God Lord casually. He is too powerful. That's right, Bingbing. This teacher is really good to you. This time, Sir has captured many sea monsters for us. It is enough for us to live in the fishing village for more than 10 years. Bingbing, don't follow us anymore in the future. Cultivate well. With the help of that Sir, Bingbing, you might be able to reach the level of Eternal Lord. That's right, that's right. Bingbing might be able to become the first Eternal Lord in our fishing village in the future. Seeing Wang Xian leave, the fishermen walked up to Yu Bingbing with excitement on their faces. Teacher is. He is very good. I will also cultivate seriously in the future. Yu Bingbing nodded her head. Her face was filled with admiration and yearning. Just now, her teacher waved his hand casually and instantly changed the spatial domain within a radius of thousands of kilometers. A level 2 Eternal Lord level powerhouse was killed casually. When would she be able to do it? In the future, I must train hard and not let down my teacher and the people in the village. Yu Bingbing clenched her fists tightly. Her eyes were filled with determination. Wang Xian didn't mind helping his student casually and killed a bunch of pirates casually. On the contrary, he gained a lot by killing that pirate leader. The pirates of the 2nd level of the Eternal Lord, the Eternal Kingdom of Darkness. Currently, the Dragon Palace had devoured the divine kingdom of fire, thunder, earth, and darkness attributes. It was still lacking the 5 attributes of metal, wood, water, wind, and light. Once it devoured these 5 attributes, the Dragon Palace would be able to level up. At that time, even if he was in danger, he would be able to return to the Dragon Palace instantly. This level 2 corpse of the Master of the Eternal God will be able to increase the number of Masters in the Dragon Palace. When I reach the level of the Master of the Eternal God and when the Dragon Palace's level increases, I can send the disciples of the Dragon Palace over. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. After all, this underground sea was a good place for the Dragon Palace to level up. The memories of that old pirate are interesting. Forget it, the pirates in my memories are not weak. I can't afford to offend them for the time being. Wang Xian recalled the information he obtained from the old pirate. At a certain part of the underground sea, there was a place where pirates gathered. It was located at the deepest part of the underground sea. There were more than 10,000 pirates gathered there. The strongest one among them had mastered 9 laws. There were a few hundred of them at the level of the Eternal Lord. It could be said to be a pirate lair. The other party was too strong. Even Wang Xian didn't dare to go there to hunt down that group of pirate. Apart from this information, he also obtained a piece of information that was very useful to him at the moment. There were a large number of Eternal Lord level creatures in the extremely cold sea. The northern howling celestial wolf, the explosive ice bear, the underground deep sea whale, and so on. Among them, the northern howling celestial wolf and the explosive ice bear were not of a very high level. They were below level 3 or 4 of the Eternal Lord level. The underground deep sea whale was relatively stronger. This kind of creature was huge and of a very high level. It could even reach level 7 or level 8 of the Eternal Lord level. It was best to escape immediately if one encountered such an existence. The extremely cold sea was where this old pirate hid when he didn't know where the pirates gathered. He had lived there for thousands of years. The extremely cold sea is a little far from here. If I were to fly there, I would need at least an entire day's time. However, this old pirate knows more about the extremely cold sea. It's much better than trying my luck in this area. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and decided to go and take a look. In this area, he was completely blind. He could only go deep into the underground sea. If he was lucky, he could catch some powerful sea monsters. If he was unlucky, he would have to waste his time. The last time he was able to catch so many sea monsters from the Lord of the Horses so easily was because he was lucky. Many Eternal Lord level sea monsters would place their eternal kingdom in the deepest part of the sea, which was also the deepest part. That was where all kinds of Eternal Lord level sea monsters gathered. And that place was also very dangerous. Even if Wang Xian had a formation to trap Eternal Lord level sea monsters, he couldn't guarantee that he would be able to capture more Eternal Lord level sea monsters. However, the extreme cold sea area was different. It was covered by glacier. The thickness of the ice layer could reach 2 to 3 layers of depth in some places. Moreover, due to the extreme cold, some sea monsters did not like the environment there. Therefore, there were fewer types of sea monsters there. Since Wang Xian had made up his mind, he flew straight towards the extreme cold sea area. The extreme cold sea area was located in the north. It was also known as the extreme cold northern region. Flying in the sky, Wang Xian used his fastest speed and teleportation to advance towards the Arctic northern region. A day later, Wang Xian sensed the changes in the surrounding temperature. The cold wind was biting cold. To be able to make him feel the biting cold wind, one could imagine the temperature here. It was at least a few thousand degrees below zero, or even tens of thousands of degrees. The surface of the sea below disappeared. What entered his eyes was a vast expanse of white land. This was naturally not land, but the surface of the sea, the frozen surface of the sea. Some sea monsters could be seen on the surface of the sea. Some were hunting, and some were leisurely strolling. Chapter 2269. 2269 2269 Ice Wolf Pack. Arctic Northern Region. Wang Xian looked at this world of ice and frost with a glint in his eyes. In this world of ice and frost, there weren't many sea monsters. However, compared to other places, they were much stronger. With the experience of that pirate elder, I'm like a fish in water here. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and landed on the surface of the ice. Buzz. Standing on the ice, Wang Xian immediately activated his yin-yang 5 elements dragon eyes and scanned his surroundings coldly. As he walked on the ice, cracking sounds could be heard. The northern wind whistled and was extremely cold. When the bone-chilling wind landed on his body, even the weak ones would tremble in fear. The thickness of the ice was something that even Wang Xian could not detect. He walked on the ice calmly and scanned the area in front of him. After walking for more than 10 minutes, Wang Xian suddenly stopped walking on the ice surface. Crack, crack, crack. At this moment, the ice surface suddenly cracked open. A claw that was as cold as ice came straight at him. Little shrimp. Wang Xian was not surprised by the attack from below. A smile appeared on his face. With a wave of his arm, he instantly transformed into a dragon claw and grabbed the sea monster below. The ice rock shrimp was a sea monster with 9 wisps of divine fire. It possessed a terrifying penetrative and freezing power. Information about this sea monster appeared in Wang Xian's mind. His body trembled and he immediately began to tame it. Bang bang. More than 10 minutes later, the ice rock shrimp made a sound of collision. Wang Xian smiled. Go, bring me to your lair. Wang Xian ordered the ice rock shrimp. Bang, bang. The icy rock shrimp made a crisp sound and nodded respectfully at Wang Xian. At the side, under the layer of ice, there was a cave entrance. The cave entrance was 5 meters wide and was about the same size as the icy rock shrimp. The Arctic North region was a very dangerous place. It was so dangerous that 5 to 6 wisps of godly state experts could not survive here. It was just like the surface of the ice. It looked extremely safe, but in fact, there might be sea monsters waiting for an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. The sea monsters in the extreme cold northern region were mostly white, snow white, and ice white. They were hidden in the ice layer and did not move at all. Their temperature was almost the same as the ice layer. Under such circumstances, it was very difficult to discover them. Once they were ambushed, they might very well become food for the sea monsters. Wang Xian had the experience of the pirate and possessed the dragon eyes of the yin-yang and 5 elements. It was very difficult for him to launch a sneak attack on him, unless he was an expert at the level of the Eternal Lord. However, with the experience of the pirate, Wang Xian was able to avoid danger. Under normal circumstances, these icy rock shrimps wouldn't exist alone. Other than the deep-sea whales and individual sea monsters, there are very few sea monsters that live alone here. Wang Xian followed the crack under the ice layer. At a glance, it looked like an underground maze. The ice rock shrimp led the way and walked down for a few kilometers. Then, a passageway appeared on the left and they continued walking towards the left. After walking for more than 10 minutes, they entered the ice layer which was about tens of thousands of meters deep. Then, a grand hall appeared. It was a little exaggerated to say that the grand hall was filled with nests. These were all the divine kingdoms of the ice rock shrimp. These divine kingdoms were made of a type of ice rock and emitted an icy cold glow. Not bad, not bad. There are more than 30 nests in total. Although they are just ice rock shrimps with 9 wisps of divine fire, they are still a decent income. Wang Xian's eyes lit up. It seemed like he had come to the right place. He moved and a terrifying dragon aura covered the entire area. Chains entered the nest one after another. Bang, bang, bang. The sounds of continuous collisions were heard. Soon, the entire ice rock shrimps were caught in one go. Wang Xian kept all the icy rock prawn into his mother nest and looked around. The nest of more than 30 icy rock prawn was located in this layer of ice. The nests of the other sea monsters were also located in this layer of ice. Even many nests of the Eternal Lord level were also located in this layer of ice. It was extremely safe to place the nest in this layer of ice. The entire Arctic northern region was so huge, and there were countless types of sea monsters contained in it. No one dared to come here and dig through the ice layer wantonly to search for sea monsters. If they encountered a powerful existence, they wouldn't be able to escape. Even if Wang Xian had the dragon eyes of the yin-yang and 5 elements, he didn't dare to travel through the ice layer wantonly. Traveling through here would cause a commotion and alert the surrounding sea monsters. Following the path he took to return to the ice surface, Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and continued to walk on it. After walking for about tens of kilometers, Wang Xian was attacked by the sea monsters under the ice again. Wang Xian easily ruled over the 8 wisps of divine fire-level sea monsters. Following that, Wang Xian ordered them to enter the nest. It was another good harvest. This method is indeed not bad. In 5 days, I managed to harvest more than 1,000 sea monsters. Wang Xian came out from a cave in the ice layer with a smile on his face. He had been walking aimlessly on the ice for the past few days. The harvest was indeed not cheap. Although there were no Eternal Lord-level sea monsters, he had obtained more than 1,000 sea monsters with 7 to 8 wisps of divine fire. However, with so many sea monsters, not every one of them was suitable to be a pet. Some sea monsters were not easy to sell even if they were tamed well. It was not suitable. Take the ice rock shrimp for example. They were more suitable to survive in the extremely cold northern region. If they went to other places, their strength would be greatly reduced. I'll stay up there for a few more days. In a few days, I'll head to the area below the ice layer. Wang Xian thought to himself as he continued to walk forward. When he saw a protruding iceberg in front of him, his body moved and he immediately flew up. Just as Wang Xian landed on the iceberg, he looked ahead with a look of astonishment. The northern howling celestial wolf. His eyes widened slightly as he stared straight ahead. No, it's not the northern howling celestial wolf. The northern howling celestial wolf is at the level of the Eternal Lord. This is the northern expedition wolf, a northern expedition wolf at the peak of the godly state. Wang Xian bent his body slightly and stared at the pack of wolves hundreds of kilometers ahead. There were a few thousand wolf packs. They had snow-white bodies and were 5 meters in size. They had icy-cold eyes. This wolf pack is comparable to dozens of level 1 Eternal Lord sea monsters. Wang Xian mumbled. More ants can kill an elephant. It was not that the weak could not defeat the strong. More than 100 experts at the peak of the godly state could fight against one level 1 Eternal Lord. If it were not for this exaggerated stage, 30 to 40 rank 1 Eternal Godlords would be able to fight against or even kill a rank 2 Eternal Godlord. More than 1,000 rank 1 Eternal Godlords could kill a rank 3 Eternal Godlord. For example, peak God Realm Eternal Godlords would need a lot of weak people to fight against. There were at least 3 to 4,000 wolves in front of them. Even a rank 2 Eternal Godlord would need to go all out to deal with them. At the very least, he would need at least a dozen level 1 Eternal Lord to dare to provoke them. Killing this pack of wolves is more profitable than what I earned a few days ago. Furthermore, with so many Northern Expedition wolves tamed and sold, they will definitely be popular. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes. His eyes were sparkling. Chapter 2270. 2270 was Invincible. Wolves are a very united creature. However, if I were to charge forward, these 3 to 4,000 ice wolves would definitely not dare to accept the challenge. After all, they are much stronger than me. If I were to charge forward, this pack of ice wolves should be able to escape. This is the surface of the ice. If they were to dive into the ice layer with all their might, I might not even be able to catch half of them. Wang Xian stared at the pack of ice wolves in front of him as he calculated in his heart. This was not the grassland. If he were to encounter this pack of wolves, Wang Xian would rush over immediately. Even if the other party wanted to escape, they would not be able to escape. However, this was different. Once Wang Xian was strong to a certain extent, the ice wolves would not be stupid. They would immediately flee. In the Arctic northern region, if the sea monsters wanted to escape, they would have to dive into the ice layer. If 3 to 4,000 ice wolves were to dive into the ice layer at the same time, it would be considered good if Wang Xian could catch half of them. I have to set up the formation in advance. I can't let them escape. Wang Xian thought to himself. It was not easy for him to encounter a pack of wolves. There were 3 to 4,000 ice wolves at the peak of the godly state. He could not let them escape. The formation not only needs to seal the 4 sides but also the ice layer when it is more than 100 kilometers away. Wang Xian calculated in his mind as he recalled the functions of each formation. Roar, 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 roar. At this moment, a roar was suddenly heard from the pack of wolves in front of him. Wang Xian was slightly stunned as he looked over with a face full of astonishment. A bunch of animals. Today, I will use my invincible battle techniques to temper my divine arts. I will fight for 3 days and 3 nights. A voice filled with arrogance was suddenly heard. At the back of the pack of wolves, a figure rushed into the pack of wolves. The figure was dressed in white and his long hair was scattered behind him. He held a silver-white longsword in his hand. His long robe fluttered in the wind and his face was filled with arrogance. He exuded the aura of the Eternal Lord. A young man who had reached the Eternal Lord realm and comprehended a law could definitely be called a peerless spoiled child. A level 1 Eternal Lord dares to charge into the pack of wolves. He sure has guts. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and saw that there was no one else around. He raised his eyebrows slightly. Using the ice wolves as his trial stone, even though the Eternal Godlord could escape in an instant, he wouldn't be able to achieve the effect of the trial if he didn't fight. Judging from the young man's stance, it was obvious that he wouldn't escape after a casual fight. Awoo. When the 3,000 to 4,000 ice wolves saw that someone actually dared to charge at them, they revealed furious expressions. They immediately surrounded him in unison, their faces filled with ice as they stared at him coldly. The entire pack of wolves did not fear a god lord who grasped a single law. Ha ha ha, a bunch of beasts. They still want to surround me and attack me with invincible battle techniques. Take this. When the young man saw that he was surrounded, he did not have the slightest bit of fear. The silver-white long sword in his hand swung out in all directions. Hua hua hua. The entire silver-white longsword was like ice. One after another, ice swords shot out in all directions. Ao ao ao. The pack of ice wolves that surrounded the young man directly pounced forward. Peng peng peng. Hundreds of ice wolves pounced forward and bit onto the ice swords one by one. The sound of collision rang out. The young man's attack was instantly neutralized by hundreds of northern wolves. The ice expedition wolves were already at the peak of the deity realm. A few hundred of them would be able to fend off an eternal god lord rank 1. However, after the few hundred ice expedition wolves broke through the young man's attack, they did not continue to attack. Several hundred more ice expedition wolves instantly charged out from the rear and charged over. Cunning thing, I, invincible in my battle techniques, have been invincible for several hundred years. I have suppressed everyone of my generation. With just you bunch of beasts, you still want to take turns fighting me. Invincible in his combat techniques had an ugly look on his face when he saw how cunning the ice wolves were. However, he was still shouting arrogantly and arrogantly. This kid is a little narcissistic. Why is he talking so much nonsense when he is fighting against a pack of wolves? Wang Xian stood on the iceberg and watched indifferently. He was a little speechless when he heard invincible in his combat techniques. Roar, roar, roar. The ice wolves were not jealous. A few hundred ice wolves pounced on him with a terrifying aura. Within a radius of a few thousand kilometers, frost covered the area. Invincible in battle techniques was located in the middle of the area. His face was filled with a solemn expression. Crash. At this moment, the white robe on his body emitted streams of frost. The frost surrounded him. The ice arrows released by the ice wolves landed on the frost arrows. Even if they were not blocked by him, they were blocked by the surrounding frost. Hey! A hint of surprise flashed across Wang Xian's eyes as he looked over. Bang! 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 In the next moment, Wang Xian saw the sharp dragon claws of the ice wolves landing in front of Invincible in battle technique. However, they were easily blocked by the surrounding frost. Bastard, go to hell. After his attack was blocked, Invincible in battle technique revealed a cold expression. The silver-white long sword in his hand pierced through the ice wolves. Pu. The sword instantly pierced through the ice-breaking wolf. Roar roar. That ice-breaking wolf was incomparably ferocious. Before it died, it pounced towards Invincible battle technique. Roar roar. In the surroundings, more than 10 ice-breaking wolves pounced towards him as if they were risking their lives. Damn it. Invincible battle technique's expression was unsightly. He waved the silver-white long sword in his hand. 1,000 miles of ice seal. One after another, Extremely terrifying frost fell on the bodies of the dozen or so ice wolves, instantly freezing them. Ao. However, in less than half a second, the dozen or so ice wolves behind him continued to pounce over. Peng peng peng. One after another, their claws landed in front of unrivaled battle technique, but they were all easily blocked by the frost around him. With just you bunch of beasts, you still want to hurt me? Die. Invincible continued to roar. He swung his silver-white longsword and instantly killed more than a dozen ice wolves. Wang Xian's face turned black when he saw this scene. Damn, the white clothes on this guy's body are a powerful defensive treasure. The ice wolves can't break through his defense at all, honing his divine arts. He even cheated when he faced a northern expedition wolf that was at the peak of the godly state. Wang Xian looked ahead and his expression didn't look too good. This fellow was too thick-skinned. He even used such a powerful defensive treasure when he was facing someone who was weaker than him. Most importantly, this fellow was shouting while fighting. This won't do. If I let him continue killing like this, at least hundreds or even thousands of ice expedition wolves will die. Wang Xian thought to himself with a dark expression. He didn't hesitate at all. Now that the ice wolves were attracted to him, it would be easier for him to set up a formation. Once the formation was set up, all the ice wolves would be his. Wang Xian's figure slowly turned illusory as he approached the position in front of him. Now that he had used his concealment technique, even those who were stronger than him wouldn't be able to detect him. However, once he set up a formation, he would be discovered immediately. Buzz. When Wang Xian arrived at the 50 km position where the ice wolf pack was battling against the invincible combat technique, he waved his arm and set up a formation on the ice surface. Formation. Above the ground. Chapter 2271. 2271 2271 Taming the Pack of Ice Wolves. Above the ground of the formation, it could make the ground indestructible. This was a formation to prevent some earth elemental experts from escaping from the ground. It would activate the metal attribute of the world and set up a formation. Of course, Wang Xian didn't need to activate the metal attribute. Once the formation was set up, the weak wouldn't be able to break through the ground. Awoo! The undulations from behind and the surface of the ice emitted a golden glow. In an instant, it attracted the attention of many ice wolves. Out of the 3,000 to 4,000 ice wolves, there were only about 1,000 of them. The rest were all surrounding the area. Some of the ice wolves looked over and let out roars. Awoo! Awoo! Hundreds of ice wolves saw Wang Xian and stared at him with cold and alert eyes. Wang Xian's expression did not change. After the formation on the ground was set up, the next thing to do was to set up the formation around him. However, Wang Xian was not prepared to set up the formation around him. His body shook and the Taiji diagram slowly appeared around him. The Taiji rose into the sky and expanded at a terrifying speed. It surrounded the surroundings directly. What's the situation? Invincible, who was surrounded by the pack of ice wolves, did not sense the changes in the surroundings at the first instance. When he saw the ice wolves around him scanning the surroundings and roaring in alarm, he was astonished. He looked at the ground and quickly sensed his surroundings. His expression changed slightly. This ice wolves pack is the spoils of war of my invincible battle techniques. If anyone dares to snatch it, my invincible battle techniques will definitely kill them without mercy. Invincible battle techniques immediately roared loudly. He had been paying attention to this ice wolves pack for a long time. It was not easy for him to have a good battle with them. Now, an accident actually happened. Buzz. At the next moment, a terrifying pressure filled the entire space. Invincible battle techniques' expression changed slightly, and his eyes were filled with a solemn expression. Who dares to snatch my invincible battle techniques' spoils of war? Are you courting death? He roared angrily and flew up into the sky without caring about the ice wolves surrounding him. More than 10 ice wolves pounced at him, their sharp claws landing on his body. However, the frost around his body did not move at all. He was not affected in the slightest. Even if he stood there and let 3,000 to 4,000 ice wolves attack him, he reckoned that they would not be able to kill him. When Wang Xian heard this blabbering battle tactic invincible bellow, the corner of his mouth twitch. "Little guy, this is not a trial like yours." When Wang Xian saw that the entire space was surrounded, he walked towards the pack of wolves indifferently. When he saw that Wang Xian was invincible when he flew into the sky and completely ignored the attacks of the ice wolves, he said with some disdain, "Huh." Invincible looked at Wang Xian immediately and locked onto him. Following that, he scanned his surroundings in astonishment. Within a radius of a few thousand kilometers, he was surrounded by a black and white energy. The ice layer below was emitting a faint golden light. The powerful energy caused a serious expression to appear on his face. "Mind your words. I don't think you are very old. It's best if you distinguish your age when you speak." Invincible in combat stared at him with a serious expression. Hee. Wang Xian smiled faintly and ignored him. He waved his arm. Hualala. In an instant, a chain extended out from his hand and wrapped itself around the ice wolves in front of him. Awoo. Awoo. Thousands of ice wolves stared at Wang Xian with fierce eyes. "What are you doing? These ice wolves are the spoils of my invincible battle technique. You're disturbing my training and you want to snatch these ice wolves away? Is it because my invincible battle technique hasn't made a move for a long time that the world has forgotten my prowess?" Invincible battle technique stared at Wang Xian and shouted. The silver-white long sword in his hand was pointed at Wang Xian. Hualala. Wang Xian took a glance at him and raised his eyebrows. A chain was launched at him. Good. Good. I will teach you a good lesson today. Invincible Battle Mage was furious when he saw Wang Xian attacking him. He shouted and slashed his silver-white long sword at the chain. Clang. 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 The chain landed on the silver-white long sword with a clashing sound. However, at this moment, Invincible's face turned gloomy. He attacked with all his strength, but he couldn't break the chain. Whoosh. At this moment, the chain directly coiled around his body. Whoosh. The chain coiled around Invincible's body. At this moment, Wang Xian was astonished. His attack couldn't break the frost around Invincible. One must know that his strength was comparable to an eternal divine lord who had mastered 5 laws. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and carefully observed the frost surrounding him and his clothes. "Mph, you're dreaming if you want to break my defense." Invincible Battle Technique's expression was extremely ugly at this moment. However, he was still arrogant as he stared at Wang Xian with disdain. Bang! When Wang Xian heard his words, he didn't hesitate at all. Numerous chains wrapped around his body and threw him heavily onto the ground. Boom! The powerful force caused the entire ground to tremble. Invincible's body was horizontally. Even with the protection of treasures, he was still a little stunned at this moment. The impact force was no joke. What a strong defense. Wang Xian was astonished. He couldn't break the defense of Invincible's treasure. This made his eyes shine. Forget it. I don't know if Invincible is his name. Even if he isn't, he belongs to the War Tactics Aristocrat clan. Wang Xian mumbled. The War Tactics Aristocrat clan was one of the 4 major forces in the Tianzi continent. It was comparable to the Xian Heaven Domain. This invincible combat-style aristocrat clan possessed such strength at such a young age. Furthermore, they were protected by precious treasures. He must be an outstanding disciple of the combat-style aristocrat clan. Wang Xian ignored him. His gaze swept across the surroundings. Chains were binding all the ice wolves. Looking at this pack of ice wolves, Wang Xian laughed. With so many ice wolves, they were comparable to dozens of sea monsters at the first level of the Eternal Lord realm. This time, he had made a huge profit. However, he was still a little short of the resources needed to upgrade to the Eternal Lord realm. Crash. Boom. Wang Xian pulled his arm and pulled all the ice wolves in front of him. At the same time, a vast pressure covered the northern wolves. Roar. 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 One by one, the ice wolves let out a low roar. Their bodies were slowly trembling as they laid on the ice surface. This aura is so strong. From his aura, it's obvious that he's very young. How can he be so strong? Invincible Battle Technique, who was lying on the ice, revealed a shocked expression as he stared at Wang Xian in astonishment. What is he doing? Is he taming? Is he a master beast tamer? Following that, he saw Wang Xian walking to the front of an ice wolf. After more than 10 minutes, the ice wolf actually stuck out its tongue and licked him. Damn it, you bastard. This pack of icy wolves are my spoils of war. Soon, Invincible realized that he was going to tame this pack of ice wolves. His expression changed slightly. He stood up immediately and shouted at Wang Xian angrily. Crash. However, very soon, chains wrapped around him and suppressed him horizontally on the ice surface. Chapter 2272. 2272 was suppressing the current generation. You, I'm warning you, let me go immediately. Otherwise, I, Invincible in combat, will definitely not let you go in the future. Just you wait, let me go immediately. If you have the guts, then let me go. Let's have a fair duel. I followed this pack of wolves for more than 3 months before they all came out of the ice cave. You, this fellow, are robbing. Numerous chains were wrapped around his invincible body, causing him to be unable to move his body horizontally on the ground. Although he had the protection of the ultimate treasure, he could not break free from the suppression of the chains. He could only lay horizontally on the surface of the ice as he glared at Wang Xian and shouted fiercely. Wang Xian ignored him. However, he was also on guard against this fellow. For him to possess such a powerful defensive treasure, it was not necessarily impossible for him to possess a treasure that could kill a powerhouse. After making the necessary precautions, Wang Xian continued to tame the ice wolves one by one. Wang Xian had nothing to hide about his beast taming skills. Since he was selling his battle pets, others would naturally know that he was a master beast tamer. Taming a beast under the eyes of Invincible in battle techniques was nothing. You can't win against me, yet you want to snatch my spoils of war. You despicable fellow. Seeing that Wang Xian didn't care about him at all, Invincible battle technique revealed an extremely furious expression on his face. This was a pack of wolves that he had been following for a few months. Such a pack of wolves was rare even in the Arctic northern region. 3,000 to 4,000 ice wolves were a huge sum of money to him. I can't defeat you. Wang Xian glanced at Invincible battle technique speechlessly and realized that he was staring at him with a flushed face. He is quite handsome and his strength is not bad. It's just that there's something wrong with his brain. Wang Xian mumbled as he continued to tame the ice wolf. You. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, Invincible battle technique almost vomited blood. Invincible battle technique is able to suppress all the young people in this generation. How dare you insult me? Although I'm not your opponent now, the river flows east for 30 years and the river flows west for 30 years. Don't bully the young people who are poor. I'm warning you now. Let me go. Otherwise, we will definitely be enemies. With my talent, it won't be long before I master the second law. Soon, I will master the third and fourth law. I'm warning you. Invincible in his battle techniques continued to roar as he glared at Wang Xian with anger. Wang Xian. He ignored this middle-aged man and continued to tame the ice-breaking wolves. Taming beasts required time. Even he had to spend a lot of time to do so, especially when there were 3,000 to 4,000 ice-breaking wolves. Taming all the ice-breaking wolves would require at least 4 to 5 days. Invincible battle technique talked for a full 10 minutes before he stopped when he saw Wang Xian ignoring him. At this moment, he was a little hesitant. Should he return to his eternal divine kingdom immediately? Although Wang Xian had trapped him, he could leave in an instant if he wanted to escape. However, he was unwilling to leave just like that. As a warrior clan, the most outstanding and youngest god lord of the immortal warrior clan, it was too embarrassing for him to escape with his tail between his leg. However, what else can I do if I don't return? He mumbled and his face turned a little black. This fellow's beast taming speed is so fast. How can it be so fast? Could it be that he is a master god of level 7 or 8, or even level 8 or 9? Impossible. This fellow is so young. He can only comprehend 2, no, 3 laws at most. However, is the beast tamer's combat ability weaker because of the consumption of his blood essence and mental strength due to beast taming? How can this fellow be so strong? Invincible battle technique stared at Wang Xian with a twinkle in his eyes. His mind was racing non-stop. Wang Xian was so young and so strong. It was completely out of his expectations. This made him feel indignant, especially since the other party had suppressed him and snatched away his spoils of war. Brother, this ice-breaking wolf is the spoils of war that I have been following for a few months. You can take it away now. However, you have to give me half of the tamed ice-breaking wolf battle pet. After hesitating for a while, Invincible said calmly. His voice was much gentler. Are you an idiot? When Wang Xian heard his words, his hands stopped moving. He turned around and looked at him. You are the idiot. You are the idiot. 1/3. I can't take any less. 1/4 is fine, right? Don't go overboard. 1/5. This is the final line of my invincible battle technique. Don't anger me. 1/6. You are the first person to make my invincible battle technique take a step back. This fellow started to scream again. Wang Xian was helpless. He used his spiritual energy to seal his ears, refusing to listen. Brother, 50 battle pets. Consider it as a friendship. After a full 2 hours and an hour of silence, Wang Xian withdrew his spiritual energy. Then, Invincible Battle Technique spoke with an embarrassed expression. 1 battle pet exchanged for 50 pills of the same level. He wants to exchange for the resources of the pills. Wang Xian spoke to him indifferently. You took my things and sold them to me. You are going too far. I, Invincible Battle Technique, will remember today's humiliation. When I step into the 9th heaven in the future, I will definitely send you to the netherworld. Invincible in Battle Tactics began to roar again. Stupid. Go and water this idiot. Wang Xian glanced at him and said to the few ice wolves that had been tamed by him. Roar. Roar. The ice wolves understood what he meant. They walked up to Invincible in Battle Tactics and raised their legs to pour water on the frost defense around him. Even though Invincible in Battle Tactics was protected by the frost defense, his expression changed drastically. This humiliation was simply a huge humiliation. Very soon, he calmed down and stopped talking. 3 days had passed. Wang Xian tamed the last ice-breaking wolf with a smile on his face. He stood up and kept the ice-breaking wolves into the mother nest. Let's go. Wang Xian glanced at the middle-aged man and walked straight ahead. Without his control, the chains dissipated immediately. You're leaving just like that. Invincible Battle Technique stood up immediately and arrived in front of Wang Xian in an instant. He said with a dark face, What? Do you want to spar with me? Do you believe that I can suppress you here? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and said to him, TSK. It's not that I, Invincible Battle Technique, look down on you. If you can break my defense, I will walk backward in the future. Invincible in Battle Techniques raised his head slightly and stared at Wang Xian with disdain. He was very clear about the defensive treasures on him. Not to mention the level 5 or level 6 Eternal Lord, even the level 7 or level 8 Eternal Lord could not do anything to him. Is that so? Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and raised both of his hands slightly. It's not that I look down on you. Invincible in Battle Techniques curled the corner of his mouth slightly. He looked like he was not afraid of anything. Buzz. Wang Xian pointed at the void and a black hole appeared behind Invincible's back. Following that, black holes slowly appeared in front of him. Invincible was stunned for a moment. He looked at the black holes around him in astonishment. If I were to use a formation to seal you and bury you tens of millions of kilometers into the ice layer, do you think you would be able to survive? Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and said to him, TSK, you want to trap me, Invincible in Battle Techniques? What a fantasy. Invincible in Battle Techniques stared at Wang Xian with disdain. Try and see if you can leave. Wang Xian looked at him mockingly. If I want to leave, I can come and go freely in the world, he said proudly. However, when he saw the mocking expression on his face, he was a little hesitant. Buzz. His heart skipped a beat as his figure flickered. Buzz. At this moment, the black hole that had sealed off his surroundings suddenly trembled. Invincible's expression changed. Big brother, let's not joke around. His face instantly turned pale. A trace of cold sweat appeared on his forehead as he spoke to Wang Xian while trembling. To his horror, he realized that he couldn't return to the eternal divine kingdom. Chapter 2273. 2273-2273, The Era-Suppressing Duo. This was the first time Invincible had encountered such a situation. Ever since he had advanced to the Eternal Godlord realm and wore a supreme treasure, he had never been afraid of anything. He dared to charge into the ice layer alone. Even if he encountered a powerful sea monster, he could easily escape even if he couldn't defeat it. But now, he actually discovered to his horror that he couldn't return to the eternal divine kingdom. The tearing energy around him and the terrifying black hole were trying to stop him. If this guy in front of him really threw him into the ice layer that was tens of millions of kilometers deep and suppressed him with a formation, then he would really be finished. At least, in his opinion, he was finished. Big brother. I'm just joking with you. Please let me go. Invincible in battle technique had a bitter expression on his face. He had completely lost his arrogance from before. Why are you no longer arrogant? You're no longer arrogant. Invincible battle technique? I think you're an idiot. No, call me Invincible battle technique. This name suits you. Wang Xian stared at Invincible battle technique mockingly and said, All right, all right, all right. Whatever you say, big brother. Let's see if you can get rid of the black holes around you. Invincible battle technique was indeed terrified. He pointed at the black holes around him and said to Wang Xian with a sullen face, Buzz. Wang Xian didn't bother to argue with him. All he had to do was to let this kid know how powerful he was. It wasn't realistic to suppress him in the ice layer. His background was extraordinary. Even if he suppressed the area below, he could still save him with the formation. If he really did that, he would be able to accept the hatred. It wouldn't go that far. After the simple black hole disturbance formation was retracted, Wang Xian turned around and left. Array formation. This fellow is not only a beast tamer, he is also a powerful array formation master. Is this fellow a monster? He shouldn't be a human. Immortal King Zhong cultivates. Reincarnation of the Celestial Emperor? He must be. Otherwise, how could he be more powerful than me? However, even if he is the reincarnation of the Celestial Emperor, he wouldn't be able to snatch the spoils of war from my invincible battle technique. I can't take this loss. Invincible battle technique mumbled as he looked at Wang Xian's back. His eyes were sparkling. Hey, big brother, what are you going to do? He hesitated for a moment and shouted at Wang Xian, Catch sea monsters. If you want a war pet, you can buy it from me. Wang Xian heard what he said and didn't hide anything. He wanted this guy to buy his war pet. Do you have war pets at the level of the Eternal Godlord? Invincible's eyes lit up as he asked immediately, I don't have them now. I will have them soon. If you want to buy them, the AI should pay attention to the Dragon Palace's War Pets shop on the Tianhai Island. Wang Xian said tirelessly, I don't have them now. I will have them soon. Is he going to capture his war pets? With his black hole method just now, it's really possible. Invincible Battle Mage muttered. Very soon, the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. Big brother, I'll go with you. With me around, you'll definitely be able to tame more war pets. Eternal Lord level war pets are no problem. I don't want too much either. Just give me half of it. When we tame a few hundred Eternal Lord level war pets, how cool would it be to sit on them? As Invincible battle technique spoke, he ran to Wang Xian's side with his eyes glowing. You! Wang Xian looked at him in disdain. Me? What about me? Let me tell you, don't underestimate my invincible battle technique. Go to the land of battle technique and ask around about my invincible battle technique reputation. My invincible battle technique is the most outstanding heaven's favorite in the past tens of millions of years. That heaven's favorite is far inferior to me. Invincible battle technique patted his chest and said proudly, Hee hee. Wang Xian still shook his head in disdain. You are looking down on me. Let me tell you, in the entire northern polar region, there is no place where I, invincible battle technique, would not dare to go. I once faced a deep-sea whale without batting an eyelid. I once shuttled through the demon claws of the 1,000-clawed demon fish. Invincible battle technique. Invincible in battle techniques stood in front of Wang Xian and said proudly. Wang Xian looked at him with some disdain. He was bragging so much. However, very soon, he looked at Invincible in battle techniques and suddenly laughed. I can bring you along too. You know that I can set up a formation. I can trap and tame sea monsters at the level of the Eternal Lord. I can also tame sea monsters at the level of the adult Eternal Lord as a mount. However, the specific method cannot be known to outsiders. If you follow me, swear that you cannot tell me anything. Otherwise, your entire race will be exterminated. Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly and said with a smile. You are ruthless. All right. I swear that I'm invincible in battle techniques. Invincible in battle techniques was slightly taken aback. He glared at Wang Xian and immediately swore. It didn't matter if he said it or not. As long as he could gain some benefits, he wouldn't say it out loud. Secondly, I have to pay a huge price to set up a large-scale array formation. For example, the array formation that restricted you just now covers an area of over 1,000 kilometers. In addition to the mental strength that was used to tame you, I can't give you too many war pets. At most, I'll give you one. Wang Xian added nonchalantly. What? One? There's only one. If I help you capture a few hundred eternal war pets and you give me one, wouldn't I be? Alright, if you're alone, don't even think about getting one. You know the price of an Eternal Lord level war pet. If you agree, follow me. If you don't agree, go home and play. Invincible battle technique roared. Wang Xian interrupted him immediately. Then, Invincible battle technique's expression changed drastically. I want to choose one of the Eternal Lord level war pets that I've obtained. He gritted his teeth and shouted loudly. Lower your voice, you idiot. Wang Xian took a step back and nodded with a smile. It was worth it to exchange an Eternal Lord level war pet for a teammate like Invincible in battle tactic. It was not easy to find such a teammate. Wang Xian had already thought it through. He would bring Invincible in battle tactics to provoke those powerful Eternal Lord sea monsters and then lure them into the formation. With Invincible battle techniques defense, he wouldn't be able to die. Furthermore, he had only mastered one law. If he were to provoke stronger sea monsters, he would definitely be hunted down. Wang Xian could already think of dozens of level 2 and level 3 Eternal Lord sea monsters chasing after Invincible battle technique and entering the formation. When he thought of this, he looked at the middle-aged man with satisfaction. FUCK, I'm at a loss this time. However, if I can get a mount, it would be pretty good. No, I can get a mount of the first level of the Eternal Lord myself. This time, I want at least a mount of the sea monster of the second level of the Eternal Lord. Thinking about my invincible mount in combat techniques, that's not right. The second level of the Eternal Lord is a little weak. At least a third level, no, a fourth level. That's not right either. At least a fifth level, or even higher. He narrowed his eyes slightly and was a little excited. The fifth level of the Eternal Lord's war pet was rare in the entire Heaven's Selection continent. When he thought of this, he looked at Wang Xian with a smile on his face. Now, he suddenly felt that this demon in front of him was rather pleasing to the eye. Let's go. Wang Xian walked over, patted the shoulder of the middle-aged man, and said with a smile, Let's go. Let's do something big and take down the entire Arctic northern region. The middle-aged man roared and put his arm around Wang Xian's shoulder. He was filled with excitement as he roared. We are going to do something big. Wang Xian put his arm around the middle-aged man's shoulder and patted him gently again. The next time will be when you return on your powerful mount. I think we should give this group a name. We should call it the Era-Suppressing Duo. The second voice rang out again. Chapter 2274. 2274-2274 had a good start. The peerless duo of the Era-Suppressing Duo. When Wang Xian heard his Chinibya words, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. He moved his arm and distanced himself from this fellow. Big brother, I still don't know your name. Invincible battle technique smiled at him and asked, Wang Xian. Wang Xian said faintly and scanned his surroundings. There are fewer sea monsters on the ice. Let's go directly to the bottom of the ice. Alright, I've been to the bottom of the ice before. I'm more familiar with that place. Invincible battle technique raised his eyebrows as he sized up Wang Xian. Boss Wang, can you handle the level 5 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord? I can handle one of them. If there are any more, I won't be able to handle it. Wang Xian said calmly. Awesome. Boss Wang is mighty. Ha ha ha. Invincible battle technique shouted excitedly. Wang Xian looked at him strangely. Is there something wrong with this guy's brain? Now, he was considering if cooperating with this guy was the right choice. A level 5 sea monster of the Eternal Lord. The northern howling skywolf is more suitable as a mount. However, its level is a little low. At most, it's only level 2 of the Eternal Lord. The explosive ice bear is fine as well. There are even level 3 and level 4 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord. This one can also be used as a mount. However, it doesn't look too cool to ride a bear. Furthermore, its level is too low. There are underwater deep whales of level 5 of the Eternal Lord. However, these deep whales are not suitable as pets. The ice python is also at level 5 of the Eternal Lord. This one is pretty cool. However, the coolest one is still the icefish bird. This one is simply too cool. If only I could have such a mount. Wang Xian and Invincible battle technique walked towards the edge of the Arctic northern region. Along the way, they could hear Invincible battle technique muttering like a lunatic. Wang Xian's face turned black. Damn it, there was something wrong with his brain. Splash. When they arrived at the edge of the Arctic northern region, the two of them entered the underground sea and flew towards the depths of the sea. The thickness of the ice layer was about 20 to 30 million kilometers thick. All the creatures that liked the cold were gathered here. No one knew how many sea monsters there were here. The two of them swam directly towards the bottom of the ice layer. Wang Xian relied on his powerful strength and the memories of the pirate elder. On the other hand, he was invincible in his battle techniques and relied on his powerful defense. The two of them didn't have the slightest bit of fear. Invincible battle techniques' speed wasn't fast in Wang Xian's eyes. It took them half an hour to reach the bottom of the ice layer. At a glance, the entire sky above them was like the bottom of the sea. We'll go deeper than 10,000 kilometers ahead. Then, you go around and attract the sea monsters. Wang Xian spoke to Invincible battle technique. The two of them flew along the ice layer above them. After flying for more than 10,000 kilometers, they stop. Boss Wang, you can set up the formation here. Wait for my good news. Invincible battle technique swept his gaze around and raised his head confidently. Alright, remember to lure more people over. Even those at the peak of the immortal realm. I'll set up the formation here. Pay attention, Wang Xian said to him. Don't worry. There's nothing that I, Invincible God of War, can't do. Invincible God of War patted his chest and flew straight to the front. I wonder if this guy can give me a surprise. Wang Xian looked at the figure of this guy and the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. It was effortless for him to set up a formation here and wait. He wouldn't be in any danger. There were too few good teammates like him. FUCK, you still want me to work for you for free? HMPH, all the sea monsters below the Eternal Godlord level will be yours. My target is the Eternal Godlord level sea monsters, and they are of a high level. The flying invincible fighter muttered. He would not do useless work if he was only allowed to choose one battle pet. He would give up on sea monsters below the Eternal Godlord level. With his powerful defense, Invincible battle technique was unrestrained under the ice layer. The sea monsters with territorial awareness could not withstand his provocation. Swoosh. After swimming for more than 2,000 kilometers, a huge mouth suddenly emerged from the ice layer above. Mouth splitter, this ugly guy dares to attack me. Sensing the attack from above, Invincible battle technique's face turned black. So ugly, I don't even want to be your pet. With a dark face, Invincible battle technique attacked the snake-mouth fish with the silver-white longsword in his hand. Bang! The silver-white longsword landed on the snakemouth fish's teeth, making a loud noise. "Die for invincible battle technique!" he roared, and the ice arrows around him formed a vortex, attacking the splitter that was an eternal god lord rank 1. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, another one attacked from the side. 2. Damn it! I can't beat them. Invincible battle technique's face darkened, and he immediately ran to the side. However, he did not run to the position of the formation. He did not want such an ugly battle pet even if it was given to him. Since he didn't want it, there was no need for him to lure it over. "Fuck, I've given you face. You guys have been chasing after me all this while." However, Invincible Battle Mage saw that the two fisheye fish had been attacking him from behind. They had been chasing after him for thousands of kilometers. This made him furious. He turned around and flew towards Wang Xian. "I, Invincible Battle Mage, didn't want to kill you because of your ugly looks. It's because I didn't cherish you," he mumbled as he resisted the two attacks from the snaky fish and continued to run for his life. The distance of a few thousand kilometers was not tens of millions of kilometers. It would only take a few minutes. When Wang Xian saw Invincible in combat techniques bringing 2 level 1 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord, he was delighted. Not bad, not bad. This guy's efficiency is quite high. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. The sea monsters had a keener ability to avoid danger than humans. If Wang Xian were to go over there himself, the snakemouth fish might not even dare to attack him. However, the invincible battle technique was different. This guy had mastered a law. Even a level 1 Eternal Lord sea monster dared to ambush him. To them, the invincible battle technique was their prey. "Boss Wang, kill these two ugly guys. Kill them." When Invincible in battle techniques entered the area of the formation, he shouted loudly at Wang Xian. Crack, crack, crack. Behind him, the two fisheye fish let out an ear-piercing sound. Buzz. The next moment, the entire space emitted an extremely terrifying change. Black holes appeared out of thin air. A chaotic energy was interfering with the entire area. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the same time, as hundreds of black holes appeared, a stream of water condensed and directly entangled the two split-mouthed fish. It was impossible to fight for it. Hiss, this is really terrifying. It seems that I can't provoke this guy in the future. Invincible saw black holes appear around him in an instant, and each black hole seemed to lead to an abyss. He looked at the cracked-billed fish that was subdued in an instant and muttered to himself, "Not bad, a good start." Wang Xian looked at the two sea monsters that were at the first level of the Eternal Lord and was full of smiles. A good start. Chapter 2275. 2275 Northern Howling Sirius Pack. Buzz. Buzz. Boss Wang, I'll continue. Under the ice layer of the Arctic northern region, Invincible Battle Technique saw Wang Xian taming two split-mouthed fish. He stretched his body and shouted at him. Go, Chunibya. Next time, attract more sea monsters over. If you attract more, I'll give you a commission. Wang Xian smiled at him and said. He was in a great mood. He just needed to set up a formation here and wait. There was no danger at all. There were also people helping him with his work. Finally, he just needed to give him a war pet. How could he find such a good teammate? Looking at the Chunibya in his battle technique, Wang Xian's eyes were filled with satisfaction and anticipation. Commission? This guy really thinks I'm a part-time worker. He wants me to be invincible in my battle technique. This time, I'll see if I can meet a level 5 Eternal Lord. As long as I can meet him, I'll lure him over and escape immediately. You want me to work for you? Chumph, don't even think about it. When Invincible in his combat techniques heard Wang Xian's words, he continued to fly deeper into the sea with a dark face. Beast in front, come out. This time, he was more than 10,000 kilometers deep. When he realized that there were no sea monsters attacking him, he shouted impatiently. Waves of aura spread out in the surroundings. Oh right, I have some divine fruits at the level of an eternal god lord. Let's see if I can attract the sea monsters. A person with great skills was bold enough to take out an eternal God-Lord fruit that contained a powerful energy and swim under the ice. Soon, hundreds of sea monsters attacked him. Seeing the 9 wisps of divine fire and the sea monsters at the peak of the divine realm, he was furious. "You bunch of animals still dare to attack my invincible battle technique? Go to hell." As he was very dissatisfied with Wang's yarn, invincible battle technique would definitely not waste time to attract these godly state sea monsters over. Not to mention wasting time, he wouldn't get any benefit. He wasn't willing to do something that would benefit Wang's yarn even if there were no benefit. After defeating a few hundred sea monsters at the peak of the divine fire realm, Invincible in battle tactics continued to charge towards the surrounding. It would be best if a level 5 sea monster from the Eternal Lord came. "Come on," he mumbled as he swam and sized up the surroundings with his unscrupulous gaze. If it were any other level 1 Eternal Lord, they would definitely not dare to seek death like this. If there were powerful sea monsters lying in ambush, they could be killed instantly. They wouldn't even be able to react in time to return to the Eternal Kingdom. Awoo! Invincible, who was walking around, finally encountered some movement. That is, the northern howling sky wolf, or nearly 100 northern howling sky wolves. They are hunting. When he heard the roar, his eyes lit up, and he looked over with excitement. The northern howling sky wolf was a tier 2 eternal god-lord creature. It liked the cold, so it lived in the extremely cold northern region. They were water elemental, and they were also known as the northern howling ice wolves. They're actually surrounding a school of fish. If I disturb their good work, will they chase after me? Nearly 100 northern howling Sirius. If I can capture these northern howling Sirius, I'll definitely want a few. I'll choose one after another. The northern howling Sirius is too handsome. In the future, I'll switch between the 2 mount. Haha, when the other group of rich kids are driving their supercars, I'll ride the 2nd level Eternal God Lord Northern Howling Sky Wolf. Invincible in battle techniques could not help but fantasize. "Let go of that school of fish and charge at me." He roared loudly and directly charged towards the Northern Howling Sky Wolves. Close to 100 Northern Howling Sky Wolves that were wreaking havoc in the school of stormfish looked over in astonishment. More than a dozen howling firmament wolves had food in their mouths as they stared at him coldly. "Get your ass over here." Unrivaled battle technique waved his arm, and countless ice arrows appeared within a 100-kilometer radius. The ice arrows directly covered the howling firmament wolves. Ao ao ao. One by one, the howling firmament wolves flew into a rage. Their ice-cold eyes stared at him as more than a dozen of them instantly attacked him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Unrivaled battle technique's silver-white longsword continued to swing out. One after another, attacks covered the other northern howling wolves. Ayo! This time, the entire pack of wolves was enraged by unrivaled battle technique. They madly chased after him. "You bunch of beasts, if you have the guts, come and chase me." Unrivaled battle technique immediately fled frantically. He taunted the northern howling wolves behind him. Ao ao! The northern howling sky wolf at the very front let out an angry roar and leaped up from the bottom of the sea. The seawater behind him surged violently, and his entire body turned into a white stream of water, pouncing heavily towards Invincible Battle Master. "I'll go." He roared loudly and hurriedly fled forward. Peng! However, his back was directly pounced by the northern howling sky wolf, and his body staggered. "You damned beast, after I subdue you, let's see how unrivaled battle technique will deal with you." Unrivaled battle technique turned his head and roared at the northern howling sky wolf. Seeing that unrivaled battle technique was not injured and actually dared to provoke him, the northern howling sky wolf was incomparably furious. It opened its mouth and a terrifying water pillar shot towards him. When the water pillar landed on his body, it actually increased his speed. "Awoo! Awoo! Awoo!" He roared indignantly as he raised his head and roared. The northern howling celestial wolves immediately surrounded him from both sides, preparing to surround him. Invincible combat style ignored him and fled with a dark expression on his face. "Damn it, they actually want to surround me, but they are close. You bunch of beasts, just wait for your death." After fleeing desperately for a few minutes, He was hit more than 10 times in the middle. Seeing that he was about to enter Wang Xian's position, he roared furiously in a low voice. "Awoo!" At this moment, a northern howling sky wolf flew over from the right. It opened its bloody mouth and bit on Invincible's body. "Boss Wang, kill them quickly." Invincible's body was held by the northern howling sky wolf. He growled at Wang Xian with a gloomy face. "Haha, good, good. Well done, well done." Wang Xian, who had already sensed the commotion ahead of time, revealed an excited expression. When he saw all the northern howling sky wolves entering the formation, he couldn't help but shout out loud, "Buzz! Buzz! Buzz! Buzz!" In the surroundings, the black hole disturbance formation instantly rose up and covered the entire space. 99 northern howling sky wolves, ha ha ha. When he saw the black hole disturbance formation covering the northern howling sky wolves, Wang Xian couldn't help but laugh out loud again. "Boss Wang, I'm being bitten right now. Can you make your move quickly?" Invincible battle technique was still in the mouth of a northern howling celestial wolf. When he saw Wang Xian sizing up the pack of wolves with glowing eyes, his face turned extremely dark as he yelled out in annoyance. "It's fine. I can't bite you to death." Wang Xian didn't pay attention to him. He looked at the vigilant northern howling celestial wolves and attacked them one by one with chains. There were nearly 100 northern howling celestial wolves. They were able to fight against a level 3 existence of the Eternal Lord. However, they were not enough for him. This fellow. Seeing that Wang Xian was ignoring his invincible battle technique, the corner of his mouth twitched. He glared at Wang Xian fiercely. Chapter 2276. 2276 2276 Ice Drill Crocodiles. Give me a few of the 99 howling firmament wolves. I had to risk my life to attract this pack of howling firmament wolves over. You have to know that other than me, who else can get a pack of wolves over? You have to know that they are extremely cunning. If you don't give me a few of them, you will be too inhumane. An angry voice sounded beside Wang Xian's ears. I can give you a northern howling celestial wolf. Wang Xian glanced at him and said indifferently, You're bullying me. You're squeezing me. You're inhumane." Invincible's eyes lit up when he heard Wang Xian's words. However, he still pretended to be angry and roared. An adult northern howling celestial wolf battle pet is worth 20 to 30 sea monsters of the second level of the Eternal Lord level. However, if there's an early stage, you can kill 20 to 30 sea monsters of the second level of the Eternal Lord level. Also, do you think it's that easy to set up such a formation to trap experts? This requires at least tens of millions of divine stones. Tens of millions of divine stones are enough to buy a God Lord rank battle pet. Also, do you think it's easy to tame an adult sea monster? How many master beast tamers can do that? You lured 99 northern howling sky wolves, and you are still not satisfied with just one battle pet. Originally, I could have refused to give it to you according to our agreement. Now that I see that you're not bad, I'll give you one. Don't be insatiable. If you... Wang Xian stopped taming the howling firmament wolves and brainwashed invincible battle technique with a solemn expression. All right, Boss Wang. One is enough. I'm already very satisfied. Boss Wang, you've worked hard. Invincible battle technique was stunned for a moment. Then, he burst into laughter. He walked behind Wang Xian and pinched his shoulder. Don't disturb me. Beast taming consumes too much mental strength. Sigh, overconsumption will leave behind a chronic illness. Wang Xian shook his head and said slowly, Hehe, then I won't disturb you, Boss Wang. I'll protect you from the side. If any sea monsters rush over, Invincible will be the first one to rush over. Invincible chuckled and walked to the side. This guy seems to be right. A war pet is very valuable to begin with. Coupled with the powerful formation to trap it and the taming, forget it. Invincible in battle tactics, am broad-minded. One is fine too. Invincible in battle tactics muttered as he walked to the side and sized up the pack of wolves. He had to consider which one would be better as a mount. Idiots are so gullible. Wang Xian was mumbling as he tamed the northern howling celestial wolf. His eyes were glowing as he looked at the 99 northern howling celestial wolves. Even if he was rewarded with one, there were still 98 left. This was a huge amount of wealth. Now that he had sold them, it was 100% enough for him to reach the level of the Eternal Lord. If he tamed enough sea monsters of the Eternal Lord, he might even be able to level up a few levels. Of course, the prerequisite was to raise the level of the Dragon Palace. Battle tactic number 2. Continue with your work. After using 3 to 4 days to tame 99 Eternal Lord level 2 Northern Howling Celestial Wolves, Wang Xian said in a good mood, "My name is Invincible in battle tactics. Remember, Invincible in battle tactics. This time, go deeper and set up some formations." Invincible in battle tactics flew over and glared at Wang Xian as he spoke. "All right, Chunibya." Wang Xian nodded his head and flew forward. The Chunibya in this area had already searched the area. He had to go further. If he ran too far, the sea monsters that were chasing him might give up. Wang Xian and the rest flew forward. They flew for a distance of 20,000 kilometers. "Next time, get more sea monsters. I have high hopes for you." Wang Xian patted Invincible's shoulder and started to set up a formation around him. "Don't worry. There will be more Eternal Lord level 3, level 4, and level 5. Invincible's face was filled with confidence as he raised his head slightly and flew forward. He was holding an Eternal Lord level fruit in his hand as if he was swaggering around the city. Wang Xian looked at his figure with admiration. "This time, I've really made a huge profit. Maybe that kid can really attract the level 5 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord. This time, I have to set up more formations to prevent the sea monsters from being too strong." After that, Wang Xian set up the formations and waited there leisurely. This time, he only came over after 3 hours when he was invincible in his battle techniques. No, he should have been attacked by a sea monster all the way here. The explosive ice bear was a 20-meter-long explosive ice bear. Its huge paws kept smacking his body. Wang Xian could see that Invincible's eyes were a little pale. It was obvious that he had been badly beaten up. Wang Xian accepted the explosive ice bear, which was a level 3 Eternal Lord, with a smile. In the next 10 days or so, he might have been unlucky and only attracted more than 20 level 5 Eternal Lord level sea monsters one after another. This made Wang Xian a little unhappy. "Mph, you're squeezing me so much and you want me to get more sea monsters for you? My Invincible battle techniques target is the level 5 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord." What Wang Xian didn't know was that the Invincible battle technique had encountered more sea monsters under the ice for the past few days. However, he didn't provoke them on purpose. This fellow had given him too little. He couldn't get anything from them even if he tried to attract them. He wasn't stupid to be invincible in battle technique. He had worked as a coolie for nothing. That was why he had gained so little in the past few days. Tier 5 sea monster, Tier 5 sea monster, where are you? Your master misses you. Invincible in battle technique muttered as he scanned his surroundings. Your master has been looking for you for 10 days to half a month. Where are you, little boy? He shouted as he walked. What he did not know was that a huge silvery white pupil covered in frost was staring at him from above. Unrivaled battle technique did not sense it. His eyes were still looking around listlessly. Boom. Just as unrivaled battle technique walked over, a huge mouth instantly attacked. The speed was so fast that unrivaled battle technique did not have the slightest ability to react. The terrifying mouth instantly swallowed unrivaled battle technique into its mouth. Woo! An excited sound rang out, and a sea monster that was at least 2,000 meters in size let out a low roar. It had an incomparably terrifying sharp mouth, and its entire mouth occupied 1/3 of its body. Its entire body was covered in a layer of ice, and it was like a diamond. Ice Drill Crocodile, an Eternal God Lord rank 5 Ice Drill Crocodile. It was a terrifying existence that was comparable to some underground deep-sea whales. Ka. But soon, when the Ice Drill Crocodile returned to the ice layer, the sound of collision kept coming out of its mouth. Woo woo. It let out a low roar and couldn't help but open its mouth. Peng. Ice Drill Crocodile, you beast, you actually dared to sneak attack me. You're dead, you're dead. Invincible battle technique flew out of the ice drill crocodile's mouth. A trace of heat flashed in its eyes, followed by a furious roar. Woo! When the ice drill croc heard his words, a cold expression appeared in its eyes. Its body moved, and it directly swallowed invincible battle technique into its mouth. The difference in strength made it unable to resist. Chapter 2277. 2277 Young man 2277, work hard. Gulp. This time, the ice drill crocodile did not bite into its mouth, but directly swallowed it into its stomach. Compete. It let out a low growl. Although it did not understand why the prey in its mouth did not die, now that it had entered its stomach, it would be digested very quickly. Woo! It called out again with some disdain, preparing to digest the food. Bang bang bang. However, at this moment, it suddenly felt something tightening behind it. Something was about to come out. An extremely furious look appeared in the eyes of the ice drill alligator. You bastard, you damn bastard. I will ride on your head every day from now on. Invincible battle technique flew out from behind the ice drill alligator. As for the location, it was naturally there. Invincible battle technique roared furiously the moment he charged out. However, this time, he didn't dare to stand there and shout anymore. Instead, he ran in the direction of Wang Xian with all his might. Woo woo. This time, the ice drill alligator was completely enraged. It swung its gigantic tail and swept towards invincible battle technique. Bang! A terrifying collision sound was heard. Invincible battle technique flew hundreds of kilometers away and somersaulted tens of thousands of times in the air. What the fuck? Invincible battle technique's face was completely black. He steadied his body and roared. He turned around and stared at the ice drill crocodile. You bastard, come with me if you have the guts. He turned around and taunted the ice drill crocodile. Roar. The ice drill crocodile's roar changed a little. One could see its anger. In its eyes, invincible battle technique was just a weak ant. An ant actually dared to provoke it 3 or 4 times. It absolutely could not let it go. Boom. The ice drill crocodile was very fast. It did not even take a second to cover a distance of 100 kilometers. And Invincible was also desperately trying to escape. If you have the guts, why don't you hit me with your tail again? He roared. Bang. A loud sound. Fuck, you missed. You bastard, you can even miss your position, he shouted as he fled. The courage of Invincible was something that very few people could achieve. Roar, roar, roar. An even more furious roar sounded. Invincible in battle techniques soon began his own escape route. He didn't know how many times he was swallowed and how many times he was swept by the tail. Hey! Why is there the sound of that middle-aged man screaming? It shouldn't be. That middle-aged man's treasure is so awesome. Wang Xian, who was resting cross-legged, suddenly heard a sound. He immediately looked around. Bang! 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 At this moment, he saw countless ice arrows landing on the body of the invincible warrior one after another. Even though he had the protection of a supreme treasure, his hair was in a mess at this moment. He looked extremely pathetic. Boss Wang, kill it for me. Kill it for me. A shrill roar was heard. Those who heard it were in tears. Eternal Lord Level 5, Ice Drill Crocodile. At this moment, Wang Xian's expression turned grave. This sea monster was an existence on the same level as him. However, the surrounding formations have already been set up. There shouldn't be much of a problem. However, it might take some time to tame it. Boom, boom, boom. Wang Xian thought to himself. The formations were activated immediately. Black hole disturbance. Water dragon restraint. Ice seal for thousands of miles. 3 formations were activated in an instant and surrounded the ice drill crocodile. Crack, crack. Within a radius of more than 1,000 kilometers, the seawater condensed into 2 gigantic water dragons. The water dragons charged towards the ice drill crocodile. Roar, roar. The ice drill crocodile realized that it had been ambushed. It let out a ferocious roar. The glacier all over its body exploded as it charged towards the 2 water dragons. Boom, Boom. Boom. However, the water dragons were able to resist the rank 5 eternal god-lord sea monster and entangled the ice drill alligator. However, this array formation wouldn't last long. Crack, crack, crack. In the next moment, the array formation took effect. The 2 water dragons immediately turned into ice dragons and coiled around the ice drill alligator's body. The seawater within a 1,000-kilometer radius was instantly frozen. Invincible in battle techniques was trapped inside and could not move at all. Formation: the divine mountain is pressing down. During this period of time, Wang Xian continued to prepare the formation. An earthen yellow mountain peak that was emitting a thick luster like a special planet appeared in the sky and continued to press down on the ice drill alligator. There was no pause in the middle of the 3 consecutive terrifying attacks. Boom. Woo woo woo. A large amount of silver blood oozed out from the ice drill alligator's body instantly. Its eyes were filled with fear and anger. Crack crack crack. Its terrifying tail swept away the ice layer and attacked the divine mountain in the sky violently. Formation: darkness invasion. Wang Xian stood in the distance and continued to cast the formation. He didn't plan to use his own strength. He had left behind a trump card. Buzz. More than 10 seconds later, a squirming mass of darkness attacked the ice drill alligator. The darkness landed on its body and squeezed into its body crazily. This guy is so strong. The formation master is indeed awesome. Invincible in battle tactics saw that the ice drill alligator was restrained and looked at Wang Xian's attack. His face was filled with astonishment. How can this guy be so freakish? He can even deal with a level 5 eternal lord, and is even a beast tamer master. Invincible was trapped by the ice formation and couldn't get out. He could only look on with amusement. Formation, illumination. Wang Xian stood in the distance and released formation after formation. He didn't want to kill the ice drill alligator. Instead, he wanted to subdue it. However, before he could subdue it, he had to make it not dare to resist. As they were of the same level, he had to fulfill several conditions in order to subdue it. The time required was also several times longer. The trapped ice drill alligator couldn't escape at all, especially after Wang Xian's continuous attack. However, it still resisted fiercely. Even after 5 hours, it was still extremely ferocious. Wang Xian wasn't in a hurry. He continued to torture it. He didn't believe that the ice drill alligator wouldn't be afraid or submit. Following that, Wang Xian spent a whole day and a half to make the ice drill crocodile lie there listlessly. The following taming process was much easier. It took about 4 hours. The first level 5 sea monster of the Eternal Lord. If I sell it, I will steadily upgrade myself to level 2 or even level 3 of the Eternal Lord. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. His face was filled with excitement. After withdrawing the formation, Wang Xian sat on the ice drill alligator and healed its injuries. Then, he summoned its divine kingdom over. Wang Xian took a look inside and realized that there were many good treasures inside. This made him very happy. This trip here was worth it. I want this ice drill alligator. I want it. At this moment, a voice sounded from the side. In your dreams? Wang Xian glanced at him and asked. You. This is what you said. You can choose one from all the battle pets. Let me tell you, don't even think about cheating now. Invincible battle technique pointed at Wang Xian with a flushed face and roared angrily. Idiot, you want to leave just because you helped me capture an eternal level 5? Are you stupid or am I stupid? Wang Xian looked at him with disdain. If you can get a few more, I can consider it. Young man, work hard. Chapter 2278. 2278 2278 escaped. Young man, work hard. When Invincible in combat heard the words Wang Xian, his facial expression changed drastically. Work hard. Is it easy for me to lure an ice drill alligator? If it were anyone else, they would have died long ago. Huff huff. Invincible in combat was breathing rapidly. However, he knew that the chances of Wang Xian giving this ice drill alligator to him were not high. After all, the value of all the sea monsters that he had attracted over the past few days was not as high as this ice drill alligator. The next level 5 sea monster of the Eternal Lord must be given to me. Otherwise. Invincible's face was filled with anger as he stared at Wang Xian and roared loudly. However, he didn't know how to threaten Wang Xian after a while. He couldn't defeat it either. What else could he do? Quit. That would be even worse for him. He was still thinking of riding a level 5 battle pet of the Eternal Celestial Master. Lure 4 of them over and I'll give you one, Wang Xian said to him indifferently. No, there are too many of them. 4 of them. Wang Xian, don't go too far. 3 of them. Otherwise, Invincible in battle technique, will quit. Invincible in battle technique growled with a gloomy face. He was a little mad. This fellow was too much. All right. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and nodded his head. This fellow was really anxious. He couldn't offend him too much this time. Wang Xian was prepared to continue working with this young man in the future. There weren't many such partners. Their levels were low, but they had the defense of supreme treasures. They could attract sea monsters without being eaten by them. Advance another 10,000 kilometers. Invincible battle technique said to Wang Xian with a dark face as he flew straight ahead. Wang Xian smiled and followed behind. After advancing for more than 10,000 kilometers, Wang Xian set up a formation there. Invincible battle technique continued his journey and fought for his powerful mount. After the formation was set up, Wang Xian waited there leisurely. Time passed day by day. He had left Shentian Academy for about a month. It's almost time for the monthly lectures. Should I rush back? Could this Chunibya have run away? He hasn't been back for 5 days. 5 days later, Wang Xian looked at the time and mumbled to himself. That Chunibya had run away for about 5 days. Wang Xian had been out for almost a month. Let's wait a little longer. I'll send a message to Yu Bingbing to inform the student. Wang Xian took out his AI and sent a message to Yu Bingbing to let her inform her classmate. Boss Wang, kill it for me. At this moment, an extremely angry voice was heard, accompanied by a terrifying aura. Wang Xian looked ahead and saw a figure flying over. No, it should be falling over. At the back, a gigantic ice drill alligator was following him. Another ice drill alligator of level 5 of the Eternal Lord. Not bad. Wang Xian was all smiles. Next, just like last time, he spent some effort to tame this ice drill alligator. Why did you spend 5 days this time? Your efficiency is a little lacking. Wang Xian said to the Chunibya as he tamed the ice drill alligator. I don't know either. My luck is bad. He rolled his eyes but didn't tell the truth. The reason why he wasted so much time this time was because he had encountered many sea monsters of level 2, level 3, or even level 4 of the Eternal Celestial Master in the beginning. However, he didn't attract them to Wang Xian's side. From his point of view, he had no part in attracting them. He wouldn't do such a thing. It was not easy for him to get rid of those sea monsters. It took him 4 days to encounter an ice drill crocodile. He was chased for an entire day before he was lured here. When he saw that Wang Xian had tamed it and there was no part for him, he felt angry. Wait here. Next time, the sea monsters that I bring will be my mount. Invincible battle technique shouted loudly. Alright, the next sea monster you bring will be your mount. Wang Xian said with a smile. You said it. Invincible battle technique roared and flew forward with high morale. This guy must be looking for sea monsters of the Eternal Lord level. He wouldn't bring anyone below that level. Wang Xian looked at his back and raised his eyebrows slightly. Forget it. He will leave after he returns. The resources he has now are almost enough to upgrade to level 2 of the Eternal Lord. He mumbled and continued to wait after setting up the formation. Level 2 would be able to fight against level 8 of the Eternal Lord. At this level, he was also one of the top experts in the entire natural selection continent. Ha ha ha, Boss Wang, we have struck it rich. We have struck it rich. Quick, quick. Catch them, catch them. However, after just 1 day, an excited voice was heard. The voice was extremely excited. Wang Xian looked over and saw that an invincible combat technique was being held in the mouth of a seabird-like sea monster. This is. All of a sudden, Wang Xian's pupils contracted slightly as he stared at the three sea monsters. They had snow-white bodies that resembled birds. Their bodies were like ice, and they had a pair of icy wings. Their bodies were emitting a cold aura. Their tails were like fish tails. Ice-splitting swallow fish. 3 ice-splitting swallow fish of level 6 of the Eternal Lord. Wang Xian's expression changed drastically and he couldn't help but exclaim, "Ha ha ha, quick, quick. 3 mounts. I only need one of them since I'm invincible in my battle techniques. I only need one." Invincible in battle techniques was still shouting at Wang Xian excitedly. Even though he had been chased for a long time and was caught in the mouth of the ice-splitting swallowfish, his heart was still burning. The ice-splitting swallowfish was a level 6 sea monster of the Eternal Lord. It looked very cool. If I had such a mount, the world would be focused on me. Fuck. When Wang Xian saw the 3 ice-splitting swallowfish flying in his direction, his face turned black. Without any hesitation, he turned around and fled into the distance. He couldn't even withstand one of the 3 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord level. Furthermore, he didn't have a treasure like Invincible in battle techniques, nor did he have the ability to escape in an instant when he was at the level of the Eternal Lord. If he was caught up by them, he would be completely finished. Wang Xian's face was pitch black as he ran out frantically. He wanted to escape to the top. Chirp chirp. A sound that sounded like the chirping of a bird came from behind. Wang Xian sensed that the 3 ice-cracked swallowfish had noticed him and were prepared to attack him. This guy. Wang Xian's face turned black. With a wave of his arm, he released the formation set up there. Without hesitation, he turned around and continued to flee. Hey! What's going on? Boss Wang, what are you doing? Invincible, who was in the mouth of the ice-split swallowfish, was a little stunned when he saw Wang Xian fleeing frantically. He shouted with a black face. It was not easy for him to encounter the 3 ice-split swallowfish. He was extremely excited as he charged forward to provoke them. In the end, he was lured here. Did you escape? What did he mean? Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the array formation in this space was instantly activated. One by one, a binding force appeared, and terrifying black holes appeared one after another. Chirp. When the ice-splitting swallowfish saw that they were actually being attacked, they furiously flapped their wings. Rays of ice light shot out in all directions, and the surrounding array formation broke apart. The black hole disturbance array formation also slowly collapsed. When Invincible saw this scene, he was also a little stunned. Chapter 2279. 2279-22. 79 million miles of escape. That guy is no match for the ice-cracked swallowfish. That guy actually escaped. The ice-cracked swallowfish had thrown Invincible due to the activation of the formation. At this moment, he looked at Wang Xian's disappearing figure and mumbled. His expression was extremely ugly. He didn't expect that guy to be no match for the 3 ice-cracked swallowfish. He escaped directly. My ice-cracker swallowfish mount is gone. No, I still have the ice drill alligator mount. Old Wang, don't run, my mount. Invincible battle technique's face was pitch black. He revealed a look of grief and indignation. His icecracker swallow fish mount was gone. However, he had to have a level 5 Eternal Lord mount. Now that Wang Xian had escaped, if he did not follow him, where would he find him? Even if he were to look for him, would he admit to it? He would be able to give him a mount of the ice drill alligator. No, I can't let him go. Invincible battle technique's face was dark as he chased after Wang Xian with all his might. Chirp chirp. The 3 ice crack swallow fish behind them broke the formation set up by Wang Xian. Their cold eyes were also chasing after Invincible battle technique and Wang Xian, especially Invincible battle technique. An ant actually dared to provoke them. Chirp chirp. An ear-piercing sound spread across a radius of a few million kilometers. Wang Xian's face turned black when he heard the sound. The speed of the ice-splitting swallowfish was extremely fast to begin with. Its level was 1 level higher than his, so Wang Xian's speed was much slower. Wang Xian looked up and gritted his teeth. Then, he attacked directly into the ice layer. Chirp chirp. Whoosh. whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, terrifying ice arrows were heading straight for him. They were heading straight for him at a distance of more than 1,000 kilometers. Wang Xian's face turned black. He could only turn around and wave his arm. Boom, boom, boom. The 5 elements grinding mill blocked the 2 ice arrows. Without any hesitation, he continued flying upward. However, just as he was blocking the ice arrows, the invincible battle technique behind him had also caught up with him. Boss Wang, don't even think about escaping. My battle pet is still with you. Don't even think about escaping. The invincible battle technique roar was heard. You damn fellow, how dare you attract a level 6 sea monster of the Eternal Lord? Why don't you just die? Wang Xian also roared at him angrily. I didn't know that you couldn't deal with a level 6 sea monster of the Eternal Lord. You didn't tell me. I risked my life to attract 3 sea monsters for you, yet you still blame me. You are too inhumane. Invincible battle technique followed behind Wang Xian and replied in a speechless manner. Damn. Wang Xian didn't waste any time with him. He broke through the layers of ice and flew in. Invincible battle technique followed closely behind. As Wang Xian was about to break through the layers of ice, he wasn't shaken off. Chirp, chirp, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, a sharp cry came from below. Following that, attacks were launched one after another. Invincible battle technique, who was behind Wang Xian, was hit directly. However, he wasn't injured as he had the protection of the ultimate treasure. Instead, he smashed towards Wang Xian directly. Bang! The tremendous force caused Wang Xian to stagger. It's not my fault. I was the one who hit you when the ice-splitting swallow fish attacked from behind. Invincible battle technique's voice entered his ears. Can your defense wrap me up? Wang Xian asked with a dark face. No, I can only protect myself. Invincible battle technique replied. Wang Xian did not say another word. Instead, he tried his best to dig upward. Finally, after flying for more than 1,000 kilometers in the ice layer, he encountered a passageway. The passageway should have been opened by other sea monsters. He didn't care about the passageway of any sea monsters. He hurriedly ran along the passageway for some distance before continuing to fly upward. Chirp chirp. Behind him, the ice-splitting swallow fish followed closely behind. Fortunately, Wang Xian was only 1 level away from it. Otherwise, he would have been killed by the ice-splitting swallow fish. Even so, Wang Xian was in an extremely pathetic state. Flee, flee, flee with all his might. Later on, Invincible battle technique was afraid that Wang Xian would shake him off. He tied his energy to Wang Xian's body and followed him. Wang Xian didn't have the time to pay attention to him. The moment he fled, he spent a total of 5 to 6 hours shuttling through the ice layer. I'm about to reach the surface of the ice. I'm about to reach the surface of the ice. At this moment, Wang Xian was staring at the top. His yin-yang 5 elemental dragon eyes saw that he was out of the ice layer after a few tens of kilometers. Below him, the 3 ice-splitting swallow fish seemed to have stopped pursuing him. They seemed to have left as well. However, Wang Xian did not dare to make any promises. He could only brace himself and run far away. Splash! After dashing out of the ice layer, Wang Xian heaved a sigh of relief and continued to flee into the distance. After flying for more than 10,000 kilometers, Wang Xian was certain that the 3 ice-cracking swallows were not chasing after him. He heaved a sigh of relief and sat on the ice, panting heavily. Don't even think about running away. Give me an ice-drilling crocodile. At this moment, Invincible in combat walked up to him and stared at him intently. You almost killed me. Do you still want an ice-drilling crocodile? Wang Xian looked at him and asked indifferently. That's because you don't have the ability. Even I, a level 6 Eternal Lord, was attracted to you. Don't blame me if you can't catch it. In any case, I can't. Give me an ice drill croc. Invincible battle technique sat in front of him and said with a red face. I'm still 1 level 5 sea monster away from the Eternal Lord. I'll give you 2 northern howling celestial wolves. Wang Xian said indifferently. No, don't go overboard. You have to give me an ice drill croc. Invincible battle technique grabbed Wang Xian's arm to prevent him from escaping. You can kill a warrior, but you can't do without an ice drill crocodile. Seeing Wang Xian staring at him, he shouted with a cold face, I can give you one, but I have to sell it to you at the price of a level 5 sea monster cub. Otherwise, don't even think about it. Wang Xian said, I helped you tame it. You will sell it to me in the end. We agreed on 3. If you lose one, you will have to pay a small price. Forget it if you don't want it. Invincible battle technique was extremely furious. Wang Xian responded slowly, I don't have so many elixirs in my hands. I'll owe them to you first. Invincible battle technique said with a dark face. Wang Xian looked at him and couldn't believe it. I said I'll owe them to you. Do you think Invincible battle technique will go back on his word? If you want to look for me, you can ask anyone in the land of battle technique. Would Invincible battle technique go back on his word? Invincible in battle techniques stared at Wang Xian and said through gritted teeth, All right, remember, you owe me 10 grade 5 Eternal Lord elixirs. Wang Xian thought for a moment and nodded his head in agreement. It just so happened that he would have an excuse for him to be the coolie the next time. Other things aside, this fellow's ability to attract sea monsters was not bad. In the next moment, he would be able to tame the ice-cracked swallowfish. Haha, quick, help me tame the icecracker crack. Invincible battle technique said with a burning face. Let me make it clear first. You don't have the kingdom of God to suppress it. If you want the icecracker crack to be your mount, you have to cultivate a good relationship with it. Otherwise, it will eat you up. Wang Xian reminded him lightly, I know this. You don't have to worry about it. Hurry up, the icecracker crack mount of the level 5 Eternal Lord. Ha 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 ha. Crazy laughter in the two voices sounded. Chapter 2280. 2,282,280 sea monsters attacked the city. Come here, put more blood on its heart and let the ice drill alligator absorb it. Only after it has familiarized itself with your aura can it listen to you. Wang Xian took out the ice drill alligator and said to Invincible in battle tactic. As for the need to put more blood on it, it was purely because he was unhappy with the middle-aged man and did it on purpose. Do it as you wish. The middle-aged man didn't mind at all. As long as he could have the ice drill alligator as his mount, what was a little blood? The process of taming the ice drill crocodile was a little longer than the others. It took a few hours. Moreover, Invincible in battle techniques was also afraid that the ice drill crocodile would run away. He pestered Wang Xian to help him increase his relationship with the ice drill crocodile. Wang Xian didn't reject him. This middle-aged man still had a lot of room for him to make use of. Ha ha ha, awesome. I'm invincible in battle techniques. With the level 5 ice drill crocodile as my battle pet, I can roam the world. In the greater world, in the entire universe, I will be the supreme. 10 hours later, Invincible in his battle techniques stood on the ice drill alligator and laughed maniacally. The ice drill alligator, which was about 2,000 meters long, emitted a cold and violent aura. The Invincible in his battle techniques stood on it. Indeed, he had the temperament of a heaven's favorite who stood above everything and dared to compete with the greater world. Come here and be a Chinibia. Add something to your brain so that I can collect my debt in the future. Wang Xian told Invincible battle technique. If he wanted the AI, he would trick it to come and work next time. Collect the debt. HMPH, how could I, Invincible battle technique, owe you? I will return it to you very soon. Invincible battle technique raised his head slightly and landed beside Wang Xian. He took out the AI. Beep, beep, beep. However, just as he turned on the AI on his arm, a red alert suddenly sounded on the AI. The notifications kept ringing. Heh! Invincible battle technique was slightly stunned, and a serious expression appeared on his face. He immediately began to check. Oh no, Tianbei High City has been attacked by sea monsters. He looked at the message asking for help, and his expression changed slightly. He immediately looked at the place and found that it was not far from Tianbei High City. They had been chased for tens of millions of kilometers and had already fled to the edge. Boss Wang, a small city in the land of battle tactics, has encountered an attack from sea monsters. I want to rush over immediately. Invincible battle tactics said with a grave tone. Oh, then you can leave with an AI. Wang Xian nodded his head. Boss Wang, we are comrades after all. Let's go, come with me. Invincible battle tactics rolled his eyes and pulled Wang Xian along as he said, it's okay to go and take a look. If I encounter danger, I'll leave immediately. Sure. Wang Xian didn't reject being pulled onto the ice drill crocodile by Invincible battle technique. He wanted to see if he could get any benefits from the sea monsters attacking the city. Invincible battle technique ice drill, charge. Invincible battle technique stood on top of the ice drill crocodile's head and ordered loudly. Wang Xian was speechless. Ice drill battle technique? This name. The monster attack has just started. The strongest one is only an Eternal Lord level 5 sea monster. Fortunately, it's still okay. Speed up, Invincible battle technique ice drill. Invincible battle technique stood on top of it. He looked at the information on the AI and shouted loudly, can't the strongest level 5 Eternal Sea monster withstand the attack? Wang Xian looked at him and asked curiously. Tianbeihai Cheng is just a small city in the most remote part of the battlefield. There are only 1 million people in there. It's relatively remote and hasn't been attacked by sea monsters for thousands of years. Right now, there's an Eternal Lord level 5 guy guarding the city. FUCK, he's not even as invincible as me in terms of combat techniques. The AI will inform everyone within a radius of 50,000 kilometers. If you can send reinforcements, send them. We're not too far away from here. Today, I'm invincible in terms of combat skills and my savior. He raised his head slightly and stared at the area in front of him. His face was filled with arrogance. The ice drill alligator was very fast. Wang Xian stood in the sky and looked ahead. He flew out of the extremely cold northern region which was covered by glacier and continued to advance forward. Boom, boom, boom. Roar, roar. Hualala. 5 minutes later, a city appeared in their line of sight. This city was indeed a small city in the Tianzi continent. However, there was clearly a problem ahead. In the sky, an incomparably huge hurricane was swirling. The hurricane was incomparably terrifying as it slowly advanced forward. All the buildings were instantly destroyed by the hurricane. Below, millions of sea monsters were roaring below. In the middle, a few sea monsters that looked like giant octopuses were wreaking havoc. Each of them was more than 10,000 meters in size. On the city wall, the metal cannons were shooting out streams of terrifying energy to bombard the area below. However, half of the city wall had already been destroyed by a giant octopus. Demon Scroll Octopus, a level 5 Demon Scroll Octopus of the Eternal Lord. There are still 5 of them. Wang Xian looked over and frowned slightly. Right in front of him, an old man and a demon roll octopus were fighting with their lives on the line. In the surroundings, the sea monsters charged towards the Steel City and fought with the experts guarding the city. In the middle, there were already thousands of corpses. There are 70 to 80 Eternal Lord level sea monsters. Wang Xian took a glance at the sea monsters. Their strength was several times more than that of Tianbeihai Cheng. On the city wall, there were still many people holding high-tech weapons. They were attacking the sea monster with an embarrassed expression. The rescue has been sent out. If the strong ones don't come, our Tianbeihai city will be destroyed. Even if it isn't destroyed by the sea monster, it will be destroyed by this hurricane. On the city wall, there were more than 10,000 people holding high-tech weapons. An old man said with a heavy tone, "Oh no, there's another sea monster over there. It's the ice drill alligator. Why is the ice drill alligator here? Isn't this kind of sea monster in the extremely cold sea?" Someone noticed an ice drill alligator flying over, and his expression changed drastically. The hearts of the surrounding people also sank, and despair appeared on their faces. "You bunch of animals, how dare you invade my land of battle techniques? I'm invincible in battle techniques, and today, I'll destroy you bunch of damn animals." A furious roar came from the position of the ice drill alligator. Hey! This is... At this moment, everyone from Tianbei Hai Cheng was slightly stunned. Invincible in battle techniques. Could it be that young master? What's the situation with the ice drill alligator? That young master's pet? No, that young master can't suppress a pet of this level, right? Some people looked over with confused faces. Boss Wang, there are 5 level 5 eternal masters. Help us defend against 3 of them. At this moment, Invincible, who was standing on the ice drill crack, noticed the sea monsters on the battlefield. He spoke to Wang Xian with his strength. The risk is too great. 5 level 5 eternal masters elixirs. Wang Xian said calmly. Boss Wang, we humans are showing weakness in the Tianzi continent. When we encounter sea monsters, we should. 10 level 5 eternal lord elixirs. What the fuck? Alright, 5 then. But Boss Wang, you have to hold on. Oh right, you are an array master. It's best for you to defend the city and wait for reinforcement. Boss Wang, summon the other ice drill crocodile. Invincible battle technique said with a dark face. Following that, he waved his arm and a small particle flew above him. Wang Xian flew to the side and another ice drill alligator appeared beneath him. He raised his head and looked at the small particle that was aiming at him. It seemed to be a video recording particle. Was this guy trying to record his heroic appearance? Chapter 2281. 2281 000 Wolves roared. A bunch of beasts, invading my battlefield, asking me if I'm invincible. The video particles floated above Invincible, and he began to shout. Battle tactic ice drill, kill, woo. He moved his arm, and a silver-white longsword appeared in his hand. The ice drill crocodile beneath him let out an angry roar and flew towards the city wall. Bang bang bang. Countless ice arrows shot towards the sea monster below. Invincible young master. The elder who was fighting with the magic scroll octopus looked over, his face filled with shock and joy. With my invincible battle technique today, these beasts will not be able to break through the city. Invincible battle technique shouted with a dignified face. It's really that invincible young master. Hiss, this young master actually used an adult ice drill crocodile as his mount. He's so powerful. He's worthy of being called invincible young master. Look at the back. There's another ice drill crocodile. There's a young man on it. Is he also the young master of the land of battle techniques? On the city wall, everyone was shocked when they saw Invincible of battle techniques riding on the ice drill crocodile's mount. Some of them looked at Invincible battle technique, Wang Xian and the rest and heaved a sigh of relief. Boss Wang, hurry up and help. You are the one who received the reward. Invincible battle technique transmitted his voice to Wang Xian, asking him to take action immediately. Wang Xian rolled his eyes. This fellow now owed him 15 grade 5 master god elixirs. However, he didn't hesitate. With a move of his body, the ice drill crocodile beneath him attacked the ground below. He flew directly toward the city wall. Roar. At the location below, the demon roll octopuses saw the ice drill alligator attacking them. They let out a roar and charged toward the ice drill alligator directly. Retreat and defend the city wall, Boss Wang. Quick, quick, it's up to you. Riding on the ice drill alligator, Invincible was shocked when he saw the 2 demon roll octopuses attacking him. He quickly shouted loudly. In the end, he didn't forget to shout at Wang Xian. He knew what he was capable of. He still had to rely on Wang Xian in this battle to defend the city. After all, he was a formation master. Formation, good weather. Wang Xian landed on the city wall and ignored Invincible. With a wave of his arm, he immediately began to set up a formation. Tianbei Hai Cheng, who was on the city wall, looked over. Buzz. Wang Xian used his water elemental energy to set up a formation in the void. Very soon, drops of rain fell from the sky. The rain seemed to have been attracted and fell toward the hurricane in front of him. Countless drops of rain began to resist the hurricane, causing its speed to slow down gradually. He used his water elemental energy to suppress the hurricane. After more than 10 seconds, Wang Xian's formation was completely completed. Formation, wall of 10,000 miles. Following that, Wang Xian continued to cast the formation and landed on the city wall below him. Boom, boom, boom. A city wall of 500 kilometers was erected and a line of defense was erected in front of him. Hiss, this lord is a formation master, a powerful formation master. Formation master, it will be much easier for us with a formation master around. This wall of 10,000 miles can withstand the attack of the eternal Lord Sea Monster. Everyone from Tianbeihai Cheng looked over with excitement on their faces. They looked at Wang Xian with gratitude on their faces. Retreat and defend. Wait for reinforcements. The invincible voice continued to ring out. He immediately ordered the ice drill crocodile to hide behind. Pa, 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 pa. However, at this moment, the two magic scroll octopuses wrapped their tentacles around the ice drill crocodile. Roar roar. The ice drill alligator that was entangled revealed an angry expression. It roared furiously and continued to fight. Boss Wang, quick, quick, give me some support. You still have so many war pets in your hands. Let's fight. Invincible battle technique lay on the body of the ice drill alligator and tried his best not to be hit. However, the two magic scroll octopuses were wrapping around his ice drill alligator. Injuries still appeared on the ice drill alligator's body. Trash. Wang Xian spoke to Invincible in disdain and immediately set up the formation. Boom. At this moment, the last devilish tornadoes that were not entangled landed a huge attack on the wall of the formation. The terrifying attack caused the wall of the formation to tremble. Formation, 5 true fire, incinerate. Wang Xian's arm condensed the formation for more than 10 seconds and headed towards the invincible support of the battle formation. Following that, Wang Xian continued to set up the formation. In the sky, an incomparably huge and terrifying heavenly blade slowly condense. Boom. At the position below, the demonic tornado octopus continued to attack the wall of 10,000 miles. Cracks slowly appeared on the wall of 10,000 miles. Formation, heavenly blade slash. Wang Xian waved his arm and the huge golden heaven saber condensed in the sky attacked the demon-like octopus below. The formation master's formation is indeed powerful, but it's too much of a waste of time. It's much weaker than a personal battle. Wang Xian mumbled and continued to set up the formation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. From below, Heaven Saber Slash attacked the demon-like octopus continuously and cut off one of its huge tentacles. Roar roar roar. The demonic tornado octopus was extremely furious. Its central mouth let out an earth-shattering roar. Roar roar roar. At the lower position, more than 1 million sea monsters were attacking the wall of 10,000 miles at the same time. Sir, be careful. We will defend against the other sea monsters. At the back, many experts from Tianbeihai City walked over and reminded Wang Xian. As everyone knew, formation masters were weaker in close combat. They were a little worried that Wang Xian would be attacked. I'm fine. Wang Xian shook his head and waved his arm. Awoo, awoo, awoo. Following that, wolf howls sounded in the sky. 1, 2, 3, and soon, a few thousand Northern Expedition wolves appeared above the wall of 10,000 miles. Every single Northern Expedition wolf exuded the aura of a peak godly state. Behind them, everyone in Sky North Sea City stared at this scene in shock, their eyes slightly widened. Awoo. In the next moment, nearly 4,000 Northern Expedition wolves raised their heads and let out a wolf howl. The entire pack of wolves let out a howl, and the aura of a peak deity charged towards the million sea monsters. When the aura of these 3,000 to 4,000 Northern Expedition wolves erupted together, it caused all the sea monsters to tremble. The aura of a real Northern Expedition wolf pack was no weaker than the aura of dozens of sea monsters at the first level of the Eternal Celestial Master level. He has stolen the limelight. Because of Wang Xian's support, Invincible looked behind him after dodging the entanglement of the two magic scroll octopuses. His face revealed a look of envy. Are these war pets? There are a total of 3,000 to 4,000 war pets at the peak of the godly state. This is too powerful. That lord is too powerful. Are these the core elites of the land of combat arts? Everyone in Skynorth Sea City was shocked when they saw this scene. There were only about 100 peak God realm experts in Skynorth Sea City. Roar. Bang. 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 However, 3,000 to 4,000 Northern Expedition wolves could not stop the million sea monsters. 10 seconds later, the million sea monsters continued to erupt. Bastard, you're courting death. Just as Wang Xian was about to release the 99 Northern Howling Celestial Wolves, a loud roar came from the west. A terrifying aura rushed over. Help had arrived. Chapter 2282. 2282 2282 owed money based on his ability. More than 10 figures were charging towards them at a terrifying speed. Each of them had an aura that was no weaker than that of a 3rd, 4th, or even 5th or 6th rank Eternal Lord Sea Monster. When North Sky Sea City was attacked by the sea monster, they immediately sent out reinforcements. If it wasn't for the fact that this place was quite far away and the expert's teleportation array needed to be transferred, there might have been experts coming over long ago. Even so, within 7 to 8 minutes of the sea monster's invasion, a group of experts had rushed over. Hey! There are already experts here to stabilize the situation. So many ice wolves. Is it a beast tamer? It's rare for a beast tamer master to have so many ice wolves. The eyes of the dozen or so experts who rushed over swept over this area. When they saw the ice wolves standing on the wall of 10,000 li, their eyes revealed shock and confusion. Someone had come to support them earlier than them, and it was a powerful beast tamer master. It was unexpected. That's Invincible. Invincible is here too. How does he have an Eternal God Lord level 5 ice drill crocodile mount? One of them looked even more shocked when he saw the Invincible battle technique on the ice drill crocodile. They naturally understood that the Invincible battle technique was the most outstanding genius in the entire immortal battle technique. It was the most outstanding immortal battle technique in tens of millions of years. He had reached the Eternal God Lord realm at such a young age and was greatly favored by the ancestor. However, even if he was favored, he could not possibly have a level 5, Eternal God Lord mount. Putting aside whether or not they had a level 5, Eternal God Lord mount in their immortal battle techniques, with his current strength, even if they had one, they would not give it to him. Such a powerful mount required at least a level 5 Eternal God Lord expert to ride it. This was an adult level mount, not a joke. If it were to backfire, it would be a huge problem. As for the stronger ones, they could use their eternal divine kingdoms to suppress their mountslairs and make them submit completely. There were very few cultivators who rode on a mount that was stronger than them. Let's kill these sea monsters first. Although everyone had doubts, they still charged straight into the battlefield. Boom boom boom. In an instant, the overwhelming attacks landed on the battlefield hundreds of kilometers away, and the entire battlefield was instantly covered in energy. One of the old men who had mastered 6 laws directly charged at the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters. Roar roar roar. A few magic scroll octopuses let out a roar, and their eyes revealed a look of terror. Their figures flashed slightly, and they instantly left. When the other Eternal God Lord level sea monsters saw the magic scroll octopuses escaping, they did not hesitate and returned to their nests immediately. In an instant, the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters on the battlefield disappeared instantly. Kill the rest of the beast. When Invincible in battle saw the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters escaping, he raised his head slightly as he was being suppressed. His face revealed a look of savagery. He was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. He directly attacked the sea monsters at the demigod level. With a slash of his sword, the frozen long sword swept across the entire battlefield. More than 100,000 sea monsters were instantly killed. Following that, another slash of his sword covered the entire battlefield with frost. Invincible, be careful. An elder looked over and reminded Invincible battle technique. Ha ha ha, those below the Eternal Godlord level are just ants. I can kill them easily. Invincible in battle techniques said proudly. The rest of them shook their heads and began to clear some of the sea monsters below. When Wang Xian saw this scene, he waved his arm and kept nearly 4,000 ice wolves into the mother nest. At the same time, the ice drill crocodile flew to his side and he also kept it in. With the support of the strong ones, he didn't interfere. He looked down and kept the demon scroll octopus tentacle that he had just chopped off. No matter what, the demonic octopus tentacle was a level 5 body of an eternal godlord. A small piece of it could be comparable to a celestial level elixir. Furthermore, the level of the elixir wasn't low. The entire tentacle was more than 500 meters long. It could be used to make an iron plate squid tentacle. Clean up the battlefield. The battle in front of them ended very quickly. A voice rang out. Sir, thank you for your help earlier. Otherwise, our Tianbei High City would have suffered heavy losses. An old man walked over and thanked Wang Xian. He waved his hand and didn't mind. The old man smiled and started to clean up the battlefield. Ha ha ha, Boss Wang, wasn't my battle technique Invincible heroic just now? At this moment, Invincible battle technique flew over and said proudly, 1 man against 10,000 men. He wasn't afraid of the sea monster army at all. He had already filmed the video. This time, his unrivaled battle technique would be famous throughout the entire natural selection continent. Awesome, awesome. Since it's settled, I'll take my leave first. Don't forget the money you owe me. Wang Xian looked at him speechlessly and said directly, Wait, Boss Wang. Unrivaled battle technique immediately called out to him. Wang Xian looked over in puzzlement. Boss Wang, no matter what, that ice-breaking wolf pack is also my spoils of war. Now that you've taken it away, I don't need too much. Just give me 1,000 of them. Invincible battle technique stared at him with gleaming eyes. Just now, Wang Xian had released nearly 4,000 ice wolves. The roar of the entire pack of wolves caused millions of sea monsters to tremble. Such a domineering scene made Invincible battle technique extremely envious. If he were to ride on the ice drill alligator and have more than 1,000 Northern Expedition wolves behind him, that would be so cool. Get lost. You want to buy them with money. Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian said disdainfully, Hey, Boss Wang, don't go too far. This is my territory that is invincible in battle techniques. You are stealing my... Bang. Seeing that Wang Xian didn't give it to him, Invincible in battle techniques expression changed. He threatened Wang Xian in a threatening manner. However, before he could finish his words, Wang Xian kicked him, causing him to fly backward. Bang. Following that, his body landed heavily on the ground with a loud bang. Huh? What's going on? Invincible, he. The people around looked over and were stunned. Their invincible young master was actually beaten up by that young man. Wang Xian, don't go too far. I only want 1,000 of them. Invincible got up with a change in expression as he shouted angrily. Idiot, you're a fool. As Wang Xian said that, he moved his right leg and the 10,000-mile wall beneath him collapsed. He smashed it directly at Invincible battle technique. Boom. Dust flew everywhere. Invincible battle technique was directly smashed to the ground. You're a fool in battle technique. Hand over the 15 pills you owe me as soon as possible. Otherwise, don't blame me for getting even with you. Now that I'm here, things won't be so simple anymore. Wang Xian's voice reverberated in the sky. He turned around and flew towards the direction of the Shentian Academy. Peng peng. Below the city wall, half of Battle Tactics Invincible's body came out. His face was filled with anger. You stole so many things from me and still asked me for money. I won't return it. What can you do to me? Chimph, how can I return the money I owe you with my ability? Invincible battle technique stared at Wang Xian's back and said angrily. However, the last few words were a little soft. He was afraid that Wang Xian would hear them. At the moment, he couldn't afford to offend Wang Xian.